This episode contains sensitive content that may be distressing to some listeners. We discuss topics including childhood sexual abuse by a parent and family members, trauma, rape, and mental health struggles. Please take care while listening. If these topics are triggering or overwhelming for you, it's okay to skip this episode or come back to it when you feel ready. Your well-being is what matters most. Love, Marie and Mirasol. Bonjour and welcome to Marie+One. I'm Marie and today's plus one is Mirasol. Mirasol Contreras. Yes. We know each other, but today I don't know you so that we can, learn to all know you together. Okay. To start, would you like to introduce yourself in a couple words?
My name is Mirasol Contreras. I don't know what else to say about me. I'm a mother of two. I'm a veteran wife. I don't know what else to say. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot to say about you, for sure. But I guess that's a good resume to start. Yeah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. I watch a lot of podcasts, so it's kind of exciting for me to be here doing this, to be part of this. So yeah.
Mm-mm. Well, I'm really glad to have you. And then our guests don't see it, but we have your family with us in the room today. So it's I feel like also every time I've seen you, it was always with your family too. I think family.
Yes, they're always with me. It's funny because my oldest, she's at a age where it's, she could start dating. So I told her, I was like, when you get a boyfriend, you need to make sure that he knows he's always going to go with us wherever we go, whatever we do. It's going to be a family participation thing.
Right. Family, ride or die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mirasol, well, it's Mirasol, your first name or your name, right?
So,
or how would you like me to call you?
I've always gone by Mirasol.
Mirasol.
Because, I'm Filipino.
Yes.
Or Filipina, I should say, because a lot of people out there are probably going to get mad at me for saying it like that. But anyways, so I'm Filipina, but because my name is Spanish derived, I always say Mirasol to kind of help people pronounce it correctly, because then they'll just spell it wrong. So my name is not as common. Yeah. That's why I say it with the accent, so that way, they know how to spell it.
Okay. And how do you prefer for people to pronounce it?
I'm not, honestly, I don't really care.
Matter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But most of the time they call me Mirasol though.
Yeah. I know. I feel like it became kind of like a funny thing to accent your name on purpose too. So I just want to make sure that, I respect you and I say it the right way.
Yeah.
You just told us you're Filipina.
Yes.
It sounds weird to say it like that, but I guess.
Or Panay is another word that they use. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I was born in the Philippines.
Yes.
Came when I was 5. So I'm technically an immigrant, right? You would say, yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I came to America when I was 5, really young. Grew up in San Diego and just been here and then moved around everywhere, and now I'm here in Albuquerque.
And do you have any memories before moving to the U.S.?
I had some memories. So I think I want to say one of the main reasons why we moved was because in the Philippines, the mountain Pinatubo, it erupted. And so we were there for that. And I kind of have memories here and there. I don't know if it's memories or just me making up stuff. Mm-hmm. But I just remember it being dark. So I don't know if it was dark or if it was just nighttime. Mm-hmm. But my auntie either lived across the street or somewhere in a street nearby. And we were leaving our house, and I remember my dad carrying me, and I just like see these like ashes falling down. But at the time, I didn't know it was ashes. So that's like the only memory I have of that. It's like, so in a way, I'm like, okay, that really did happen, because I do remember parts of that. So I think a lot of that was the main reason, like one of the reasons why we moved to America. My uncle was also in the military. He was in the Navy. And so, and because my parents are deaf and mute, that was another reason why we moved to America, because it was, you know, they needed that help from family. So, and then there's more opportunities here in America too.
And you had family then in the U.S. at that time?
At the time, I think it was just like my uncle. I think it was my uncle, because he had joined the military, and then his family. And then he like petitioned for like my grandma. And then once my grandma moved to America, then she petitioned for like the rest of the family to come. So it's like my uncle, and then his kids, and then my auntie and her kids. And then it was like my mom and dad and us, me and my brother. And then after that, it was like my other uncle and his my other uncle and his kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because I didn't know about it, but I have my interview on June 5th for naturalization.
Yeah.
And so, because I'm also an immigrant.
And no one would have known, right?
Right? Well, I guess they can tell after I talk for like 30 seconds. It's funny because at the post office, everybody's always like, I hear an accent. And I'm like, oh, you do, huh? Because I'm trying to get rid of it. But,
oh, no.
So I guess I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are telling me that lately, but I talk way more now that I'm a clerk, and I just have to interact with people more, I guess. I don't know. But I was saying that it's funny because my sister, one of my sisters we talk, but then she was like randomly telling me, oh yeah, hurry to get your naturalization, because then I can petition to become American. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you know.
I mean, that's kind of what usually happens. You know, once one family member like
is in,
yeah, and they get their green card or their permanent resident,
right,
alien card, whatever it's called. Then they like start to petition the rest of their family. And yeah, I mean, it's family.
It's family, yeah, you know, and so you moved when you were 5, and do you have brothers and sisters?
I do. So I'm the youngest of 3. I have an older sister that's like more than 10 years older than me. And then I have an older brother that's around 7 years. I know it's terrible. I don't remember our ages, but like okay. We're far
apart.
We have big gaps.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're the youngest.
I'm the youngest.
Okay.
And so I don't know. I feel like because we had such big gaps, with my parents being like deaf and mute, they just kind of relied on me to take care of them. And so, you know, my sister and my brother went on to like have their own lives, and I've been taking care of my parents since I can remember. So I'm what they call a C.O.D.A.
Okay.
A C.O.D.A is stands for Child of Deaf Adults. And so when I was in college, I took 3 semesters of American Sign Language. And one of the things that I was told in that class by the professor was usually when there's like a deaf person in the family, there's only like 1 or 2 people in the family that like really takes the time to learn and like communicate with that deaf, you know, person. And then the rest of the you know, people in the family just kind of, you know, make do or, you know, try to not get away, but, you know, get through. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I just became one of those that just like learned the language and became an advocate for my parents. So I'd be the one like going to their doctor's appointments and having to interpret, even though I don't know these like medical terms, you know? So I've always like taken care of them, and it was rough as a child. I don't know. I grew up really, really quick. I could tell you that much.
Sure.
Yeah.
So are they deaf from birth?
So my dad, so I always thought both of them were,
Okay.
which is funny. But my dad, actually, I found out later on, like once I started meeting like his sister, or I think it's his sister, like his side of the family more, that he actually wasn't born deaf. Like he like was able to speak up
Okay.
until like 12 or something like that, and he had like some kind of accident.
Oh no.
It was weird.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how I found out about that. But yeah, I think it's hard because they grew up in the Philippines, and I'm pretty sure like the education system wasn't like set up for like disabled people.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
I know people wouldn't really consider it like a disability, and that's the thing that I was kind of thinking too. So like growing up, you know, I used to think of it as a disability, but then, you know, I was always with them going to like parties, you know, hanging out with their friends, and all these social gatherings. And I realized, well, they look like they're well off, you know, they have a job, they're deaf and mute, but, you know, they have their house, they have their kids, like they look like any normal, you know, family.
Yeah.
But they just can't, you know, speak, or they can't hear. So then I thought about it. I'm like, well, I guess a disability just depends on the person if they let it become a disability. And so, like, to me, it's like I feel like my parents let it be that.
Okay.
Not so much my dad, but more my mom. And so she just relies on, well, you know, someone will take care of me. And so that's kind of what happened with me. Like, I just been taking care of her. And yeah, so.
How old were they when they moved to the U.S. with you being 5?
So we moved all together.
Yeah. But and how old were they?
Oh, I don't remember.
Because I'm trying to think too. Like for me, like my native language is French, right? So if I were to lose, if I were to become deaf like tomorrow and have to, you know, I don't know. Okay, I guess I don't make sense. I'm trying to make sense in my head too. But when they moved to America, were they already signing in English?
No. Okay, yeah, you make a good point, because that's another thing too that like people don't realize. Like, sign language has like, it's different in each country
yeah,
too.
Right. Per language.
So, like, to be honest, like the sign language that they know, I don't even think that's like Filipino sign language.
Okay.
It's what they could people consider home signs. So like they created these signs with along with what like is the formal signs that
kind of like lingo that we would have
like
between
Spanglish.
Yes.
Yeah, so they like mixed it all together. So when I was taking those ASL classes, like when I learned some of the signs, and I was like, it's not that, and they're like, no. So okay, for example, one of them is this, and I want to say it's breakfast or lunch. No, maybe it's like this or something like that. But you know, it's lunch. But my mom always told me it meant like lesbian.
Oh.
So like, I don't know. Maybe it's that or the other way.
But either way, you're in class and you're like,
yeah,
what are you teaching me?
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it was just like, oh, I was saying it wrong the whole time. So yeah. And it was like a growing moment. Like I learned that, you know, some of these things that were home signs that she taught me or my mom and dad taught me, and then some of them were actual like ASL signs. Yeah.
So did they have help when they first came here? Because I mean, I know you said because you were, you know, who was taking care of them before you grew and were in age to actually help and take over?
So I had my uncle and my auntie that like I said lived across the street or nearby. So they were the ones helping. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. But then, I understand that at some point, that's crazy. Because see, for me growing up, like it's completely different. It's probably not even parable, but I was the second mom. I had to take care of all my brothers and sisters. So I can like you are in a way, I had to grow up faster.
Yeah.
And the consequence of that is that I didn't really have friends in high school because I didn't have time. First of all, after school, I had to run and help my brothers and sisters. Go pick up my brothers and sisters in school, and then help my parents like cook and do all the chores and stuff. And so, how was it for you growing up with the responsibility?
That was it. I mean, that was a struggle. I mean, I did have a normal like childhood. Like I hung out all the time with my best friend whenever I could. But like when it came to the doctor's appointments or like other appointments, like I would have to just go to them. Yeah. One thing I know for sure though is school was never like an importance to me. And, you know, and there's points in my life, like in my childhood, that I wanted it to be important. Like I wanted to be ambitious and like go to college and, you know, do this and become this. Like at one point I had a timeline where I was like, well, you know, I'm going to go to this college. I'm going to get my bachelor's at this age. Like, I think it was like 23. And then like, I'm going to go for my master's and, you know, get that at 28. Like I literally created a timeline, right. But to my parents, they didn't understand how important education was because they never really received that. Like, I think the highest level of education that they got was elementary, and that was it. And that's in the Philippines. So, you know, coming to America, that's like different, right? So to them, it wasn't important. I just remember senior year, I wanted to go to a college somewhere in LA. I think it was like Northridge University. And I had gotten accepted. And, you know, I was all excited because I'm going to move out, become an adult, you know, be away from my parents. And my mom's just like, no, I don't want you to go to college. Like, why do you have to go to college? Like, who's going to take care of me? And I'm like, you know, that like scared me because I know that like if I were to go off, do this thing for myself, if something were to happen to them, that would like, I would have a guilt trip forever. Like if anything serious.
And it's not fair.
No, it's not fair.
I'm sorry for that.
No, it's okay.
No, I know, but you know, it's like, I know it's like way, like it's years later, but it's, you know.
Yeah.
Especially when you already have, you know, have it planned and, you know, and then you're accepted and there's the joy and then there's the crash after of realizing that you can't go.
Yeah. But that, I mean, this is why I tell my kids, my girls, I'm like, go do what you want to do. Whatever your dreams are, go for it. I will support you. Because I didn't get that. I was too worried about making sure that like my parents were going to be healthy and that someone was going to be there. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
And I don't think it helped that so my dad got diabetes when he was when I was in middle school. And then my mom ended up getting lupus. So that was that was the main reason why there was a lot of like I can't go because if something were to happen, like that's why I had that mentality.
And then you add on top of it. It's so crazy because I feel like life's so unfair sometimes, and it's like those roller coaster of good news, and then it crashes, and then it goes up, and then it's like. And then it's in those years too where it's hard as a teenager to not build resentment or, you know, or think that it's going to be your whole life and then not see that eventually there is going to be a life where you have two beautiful daughters, you know, and an amazing husband.
And it's hard because I'm not going to lie. I do resent my mom in that way.
Yeah.
But, you know, those feelings of resentment, I don't necessarily take it against her. It's more like I'm going to take those resentments and not repeat it to my girls. Sorry.
It's okay.
Mother's Day.
It's Mother's Day weekend.
So I'm just like, you know, It being a mother's hard.
You're so strong. You're so strong. And you've been strong your whole life. So thank you for being strong and showing that you can still, you can make it. And we're all crying.
Oh, I know. I don't know. I just kind of wish that my mom would have tried harder. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying she didn't try at all. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know.
It's how old are you?
I am 39. Can you believe that?
Wow, no.
I'm like, oh my God, where has the time gone?
It's crazy because I'm gonna say we're the same generation. I'm gonna be 32, but it's, to me, for my purpose, we're the same generation. Because the thing is, see, like for me, my mom, she passed away, and I think she had so much shit going on in her life that her motherhood was never her priority, or enough to clean her act and, you know what I mean, get herself together and be a mom. I think it never, I don't know, I think her problems were way more than she could handle, and I can see that now. Yeah. And so, but she's gone. Yeah. And so I cannot tell her that it's okay. You know what I mean? Like that I understand that it's okay, but at the same time, I'm so mad at her for being gone. And so I'm so sorry, because I mean, your mom is still here. Yes. But she's living with you. Yes. Right? So you still take care of her.
Yes. Only because my dad had passed away in 2023. I'm so sorry. And so and we always knew that if my dad passes away, my mom has to come live with us. Mm-hmm. There's no way. So yeah, she lives with us. We have our struggles, but we take care of her.
But you're still there. You're still there for her, and and I commend you for that, because it's not everybody would do that.
True, but it's that thing in me where it's just like, if something were to happen to her, right, I couldn't live with myself. As much as it's difficult, and as much as I want to be selfish and be like, no, right, my family's a priority. No. Mm-mm. It's just another piece of me that I have to set aside and be like, I can, set this aside, this little piece of me. Right.
Well, thank you for her too. And okay. So let's try to take you back. Who were you as a little girl? What did you dream of becoming when you were a little girl, like 6, 7?
At one point, I was an accountant, and I worked in a bank, and I literally would get those books, those accounting books, like a merger book.
Oh, for real? That's amazing.
I would buy it from the store and literally pretend you're taking out this much money. Okay. And just pretending. Uh-huh. So at one point I was that. I really didn't have a lot of ambitions when I was younger. It was more once I got in high school, which was weird because junior year of high school, I remember being really interested in biology, did so well in it. And I was like, I'm going to be a geneticist. I'm going to work in the lab and work with, genomes and blah, blah, blah. But it was one of those fleeting moments. And then afterwards, I just forgot about it. And then senior year of high school, my life was just so centered around my parents. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I'm learning sign language. Why don't I continue with that and do a job that has related to sign language? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So interpreter was one of them. Then I was like, I'll be a speech pathologist. So then, I tried to do that. I love working with kids, but it is a challenge, mm-hmm, as you know. So I did that for I don't know, maybe 2-3 years. Then I worked as a paraeducator, and I was like, oh yeah, I could be an occupational therapist. And that's where like my timeline goal like kind of came into place.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I was college, that's when I became a mother. And I always told myself that, you know, when I become a mother, I am going to be the best mother I could be. Yeah. So
I feel you.
yeah. And I was going to teach them, I was going to protect them
Mm-hmm.
from whatever I can. And I was going to be that mama bear that, you know, make sure that, you know, they go to school and yeah.
Amazing mommy.
And you know, I'm strict, but for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning. You know, as a mother, you learn.
Right, you learn. Oh man,
We're new to this too.
right. But in the fun, you know what? It's funny that you say that because I feel like before becoming a mother, I don't know how it was for you, but for me, it's almost like I knew it all. Like I knew how I was going to raise my children and do this. You know what I mean? You know, and you almost judge parents. You know what I mean?
True.
And you're like, oh my God. Or at restaurants, you see parents give like an iPad to a child and you're like, oh my God. You're like, you know, they could educate their kids better or whatever.
Yeah.
You're a parent, and your son, who was amazing so far at any place you would take him, starts to, you know, struggle at restaurants.
Oh, I know,
like,
right?
I think I'm just gonna put Miss Rachel on for a minute,
Just for a minute,
just
right?
so I can eat.
Yeah.
You know, no, but it is a learning process every day. And the thing is, as a child, I remember, you know, watching my parents and, you know, and judging the decisions and always being like, oh my God, like for real, like I can do better, or they should have done this, or they should have, you know, done it this way, not that way. And then you grew, and there's still a little bit of that because I'm a young mom.
But you are young.
But you learn and you're like, okay, yeah, it's not that easy, and you do your best, and
Yes.
you know, because I used to resent my parents they always used to say, there is no book to be a good parent, you'll see when you're a parent.
Oh, yeah.
And in my head I was like, there may be no book to be a good parent, but you could certainly write one to be a
Oh my God.
And, you know, I used to think that. And, you know, because I was like, it's so easy to hide yourself behind the fact to say that, well, you do your best. There is no book, la, 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 la. But to me, and that's how I am with, like, same as you for my son. I'm like, no, I'm going to be the best mom there is because I don't want them to have the trauma that I went through, because, you know, I don't want them to think of weight as anything, you know, and it can be a subject for my son, because that's still to this day is something that I struggle with, and image and, you know, all that. And I don't want to do the opposite though. I don't want to overprotect him or tell him he's handsome and for him to just become a, you know, I don't know how you say that in English. We say a dick in French. That means like a big neck, like he's better like he's better than anyone else. But you know, it's like, yeah, it's so challenging. So how old were you? Well, wait. Okay, first, I wanted to know the story about how you met Mark.
Oh, so we met senior year of high school, and we were actually friends at the time. So it was just, you know, a group of us. And I had broken up with my boyfriend at the time, and he was kind of part of that group. And then next thing you know, like the more times we hung out, I'm like, I think I like this guy, because he had liked someone else at the time.
Okay.
And the one memory that I have of him when we would talk is like, he's like, I'm going to ask this girl out to prom, and, you know, this is how I'm going to ask her. And I'm like, I need a romantic guy like that. Like, that's the kind of person.
And he told you?
Well, because we were friends at the time, right? And you know me, like, I'm easy to talk to.
Oh,
like,
yes.
I talk to anybody about anything, like, about life. And that's what we talked about. And I'm like, dang, I need someone like that in my life. And I think that's kind of when it first started. And I'm like, okay, like, this is a good guy. And then I think over time, just like hanging out with him more and more, it was just like, I grew to like him more and more. And then, then I had told, so we share a same best friend that's within the group. His name's Larry. And I had told him, I'm like, I think I like Mark. And of course, I don't know why I trusted him because like he's best friends with them too. So I'm sure he told him. And so I don't know. From there, it was just this like weird childish, like, he likes you, she likes you. And then so they didn't drive. I had a car because at the time, my dad had diabetes, but then he wasn't allowed to drive no more. So I had the car and I went and took them somewhere. I dropped them off at a friend's house and I was like, today's the day. I'm going to tell him I like him and see where it goes, So then, they go and I go and drop him off. And then I tell Mark, I'm like, hey, I need to talk to you. So then, I get out of the car. My friend Larry, he like goes inside and I'm like, I just want to tell you I like you. Okay, bye. And I get in the car and just leave. And it's literally like one of those K-drama scenes where like I'm driving and I'm looking in the rearview mirror or the side mirror and I'm like, oh, he's still standing there. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like,
you didn't even give him time to answer.
No, because I was too nervous. Well, that's what I remember. For all I know, I don't know what he remembers from it. So that's kind of where it started. And then like we would always just like hang out. And at the time I lived really, really far because I lived at my brother's house. So I would just like kind of stay at like my best friend's house or other people's house. So we would always hang out outside of his house in my car and I would always fall asleep and we just hang out and just talk like all night. And then I'd like fall asleep and he'd watch me like sleep in the car, which is weird because I sleep like this, like with my eyes open. I'm not lying, guys. I sleep weird. And
maybe that's why he watched you, just to make sure.
He's like, oh, is she having a seizure?
I better make sure I just watch her sleep.
Hey, he ended up marrying me, so that's his fault. But I was just like, this guy's so weird. I don't know why he's watching me. Like, for all I know, I farted in my sleep. Like, oh my gosh. But yeah, we would always hang out all the time. And then, so around this time, actually, so his birthday is May 19th. And I was like, I'm going to give him a kiss for his birthday. Try to give him a kiss, but it was like an awkward kiss. And I don't even think I kissed his lip. I think I kissed his like cheek or something. And I was like, oh my God, that's embarrassing. So then he's like, you want to come inside for some coffee? And I'm like, oh, I love coffee. Yeah. So we go inside, have coffee. It's probably like 10 or 11 at night. School night too, probably.
Okay.
So go inside and we're watching Blue Crush for all you millennials. If you remember what that movie was. I fall asleep again. And apparently he said he asked me out, but I don't know because I was like asleep. So I don't know if he thought I was like awake because my eyes were open. I don't know. But apparently he asked me out. And then, the next day, like at school, like, I don't know. It was such a weird dating journey, I guess you would say. And then I wasn't even sure if we were going out because he wouldn't pick me up from class. Like, it was just like a typical, oh, we're all hanging out with friends again. So I was like, I don't know, are we going out? What's going on? So then we had our prom, like the end of May. It was like May 29th or something. And that's when Larry, so my best friend Larry, and then my girl best friend Jackie was like, because we're going as a group. We're not going as dates or whatever. And they're like, oh, he's going to ask you out. He's going to ask you to dance. And then when you're dancing, he's going to ask you out. And I was like, oh my God, really? Like, it's going to happen. Like, this is legit. So we go to prom, you know, we're having fun, whatever, take pictures, blah, blah, blah. And then slow dance comes, right? And he asked me to dance. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to happen. Like, he's going to ask me. So, you know, we're dancing, whatever. And my stupid best friends, one is like on each side taking pictures while we're dancing. And I'm like, I guess it's really happening because they're taking pictures. And then nothing happens.
Oh, no.
Nothing at all. Nothing.
Mark.
Then, you know, what everyone does after prom, you know, they don't go home. They go to Denny's or, you know. So we went to Denny's. Then we went home, got some stuff, went to the beach, slept there all night, and then, you know, stayed like in the morning to go swim and stuff. And that's when he asked me out because we were laying on the beach, you know, covering ourselves from the sun. And, you know, we're both there just laying next to each other. And he, like, busts out this, like, acrylic ring. And he's just like, will you be my girlfriend? I'm like, oh, this is when it happens. Finally.
Oh, you are romantic. Oh.
Yeah. So and I still have that ring. Like, I have it in my memory box. It doesn't fit me anymore, but it's there. Yeah. So then that's when he finally asked me. It took a while, but that's okay.
Mm-mm. Oh, that's amazing. Well, you know what? That's also a really good story for whenever your daughters have boyfriends.
Oh, I know.
You know, and be like, you better be as romantic as your father-in-law.
I know. I was giving her a list of things. I'm like, one of them was like the whole family thing.
Uh-huh.
And then I told her that, oh, like he has to be very respectful to, especially more so to like adults. And then like I told her it can't affect your grades because the moment it affects your grades, like no more.
You're single again.
Yeah. I mean, there's this one boy apparently, and he says bye to Mark whenever he goes to like pick them up, but we don't know. Maybe.
Well, he's polite. At least
he is polite. He's a good kid. But I'm like, why are you saying bye to her dad?
Oh.
Yeah. But you have a long way to think
I was
about
say,
that. Don't think about that. You know, mine is like almost 16. She's like, when can I drive? I'm like, never. But also, I don't want to drive you around. Right?
Oh, it goes by too fast.
It does.
It does. And so it's funny because you say that, and then the other day at daycare, though, so Jean-Pierre, my son, he's going to be 2 in July. But the teacher there told me that he tried to kiss a little girl, and she pushed him away. Poor thing.
Oh, no.
But also I'm teaching him because, you know, I'm Belgium, and we kiss to say hello, good morning and hello and bye.
True.
I'm teaching him that. And so, you know, we have him kiss us every morning and then at night and then when we meet family or friends and stuff. So, you know, I think he just wanted to say hello, but she didn't want to say hello back.
Which is fine, because, you know, she probably was taught, like, don't let anyone little boy kiss you.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. So you started dating at that point.
Yes.
And then, well, you're still together today. So that's what a beautiful love story. Too long.
Because that's high school, and I'm like 39. Do the math.
I'm not good at math. We won't say.
My daughter's saying 20. Oh yeah, it is 20 because my 20-year reunion was like last year.
Oh
gosh.
So, well, you're still together after 20 years, and you have 2 beautiful daughters. Any tips for the rest of us?
Give yourself a lot of grace. Like I said, you said, it's a learning, you know, moment. Every moment's a learning moment, right? And, you know, if you happen to, you know, get mad and learn from it and just give yourself grace and then be better again. That's all I can say. I mean, you know, I strive so hard to be not my grandma or my mom and being like the better versions of them. But, you know, because you grow up with that, you kind of like inherit some of those like habits, you know what I mean? And then you find yourself doing it. And, you know, it's just one of those things where it's just like, okay, I need to make sure
Catching
I don't do
yourself.
that again, or, you know. So a lot of reflection, but mostly forgiveness for yourself. And it's never too late to, like, work on yourself. Like, I still don't regret dedicating, you know, a chunk of my life to my kids. You know, as much as I wanted to go back to school while they were kids, and, or, you know, when they were like babies and whatnot, that was a choice that I made, knowing what I would sacrifice. And if it happened all over again, like if I were to go back in time, I would still make the same decision. And I don't regret having them so young either, because, you know, some people, I know they like focus on their career and then they wait to have kids.
Right.
I don't regret having them so young either, because when you're young, you're so fertile. And, you know, I have lots of friends that, like, you know, are struggling with that, to have kids at a later age. So, you know, I want to look at it as a blessing too, because I had them so young. They're healthy, they're smart, you know, and they're there, you know. So I don't regret that at all. And now that they're older, I started focusing on myself. So I went back to school, got my degree, and it's never too late, you know. And that was what I chose.
Right.
Each mother is always different, and there's no right or wrong reason. I mean, choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and thank you for saying that, because I feel like a lot of us, we compare each other, and of course, you know, I was saying that in another episode, but it's so hard also with social media nowadays, because you see other moms, and of course on social media, you know, people share what they want to share, and you only show the highlights and stuff, but you see like the highlights of other moms, and you're like, I'm not doing good.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but it doesn't mean that they're actually doing good or that they're even happy, but it's just, again, yeah, you just see the highlights and you're like, oh, okay. And then you look at your own life and you're like, oh, I need to do this better, or I need to do this more. Oh my God, Marie, I need to do more of this or more of that. And so going back to when you were pregnant for the first time, how was that experience for you?
It was scary. Oh, because I told you that story, huh?
I don't know.
So at the time, Mark and I had discussed, like, okay, if for whatever reason, if the plan B doesn't work and the other contraceptive doesn't work, and I just happen to get pregnant, like, what's the plan? Am I going to get an abortion? And I know not everyone's for that, and I'm sorry, but that was an option for me, and I was okay with that. But, you know, what's going to happen? Are we going to get an abortion? Are we going to keep her, you know,
Right.
because we didn't know at the time. And then are we doing adoption? So we fully discussed it beforehand. And I wasn't pregnant at the time, just, you know, discussion. And we had discussed, we're going to keep, and we're just going to figure life out as it goes, which I'm grateful for, because I've had things happen in high school. And so that's why I'm just like, okay, I'm going to, you know, we're going to do that. I like that plan, because that's what I really wanted. But I wanted to make sure you wanted the same thing I wanted without me saying it first. So then once I found out I was pregnant with her, I cried. Well, no. I didn't cry at first. It was when I found out she was a girl, I cried. Because being a woman is hard. And I went through stuff. A lot of stuff in my childhood. Like,
do you want to talk about it or no?
Yeah, this is probably the time where, like, I probably should have had my kids, like, out there. Yeah, but that's kind of where when you think about my decision of, like, oh, why I want to keep
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like, so that's why when I found out she was a girl, I'm like, I don't want her to go through what I went through in life. And I literally cried to God, and I'm like, why would you give me a girl? Why? And so, yeah, it was hard. Yeah. But now I'm grateful. And there was a reason, you know, it was because there was something that I needed to teach them. There was, you know, the guidance that I was going to give them was, it was meant to be. That I was going to raise these powerful women. You know, I've always looked at myself as powerful and independent, but they're going to be just as more powerful and independent and intelligent, and they're going to contribute so much to society and yeah, they're going to make changes in this world that, yeah.
You're raising, like you said, beautiful and smart young ladies, let me tell you. And oh man, you can be so proud of yourself, and you are strong. And it's I need some of your secrets too, because you know I right now I have a little boy, but I'm hoping to, you know, grow my family and have little girls of my own too. And it's funny you said that, because I feel like as women we always want to have little girls, you know, in a way. But it wasn't your wish.
Not at all. I was like, I want a little chunky boy, and you know, I want him to be a mama's boy and everything. But no, I didn't get that. But I don't regret it at all. I don't regret my girls at all.
And so you wanted to know if it was a boy or girl.
Oh yes, okay. Like yes, as soon as possible. I was like, I need to know now. And then when I did, that's when I cried. But
and how did your pregnancy go?
It was actually, well, there was a point in time when I actually got sick, and I coughed a lot, or like I don't know what I had, but I was coughing a lot. And, you know, with your first pregnancy, you try to do everything possible, right? You're like, I'm not going to take medicine. I'm not going to drink coffee. I'm not going to drink any kind of like caffeine, right? And that's what I did with her. So I literally didn't take any medicine. I did like home remedies, and I did like honey, what was it? Like honey and lemon. But I suffered. It was rough. But other than that, like it was smooth sailing. Then, you know, she came out, she was born, and that was like another challenge that I had to go through, because then I was like, I'm going to make sure I breastfeed them, you know, give them the best that, you know, they can get. And no one ever tells you that breastfeeding is a struggle.
Oh, wow. Yep, it is.
Yeah.
Its own journey.
Yeah. And, you know, every woman's different. But
oh, yeah.
Like, so for me, she had issues with latching on, like, correctly. So the way she would latch on, it would actually make my nipples bleed. And then that made me panic, because it was like, she's drinking my blood. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's totally fine, as long as, like, you know, you're not HIV positive or whatever. Like, it's fine for her to still continue drinking. And I'm like, but she's drinking my blood. That's weird. And I remember also thinking, like, I'm going to give this a month. And if after a month it doesn't get any better, like, I am done. Like, I cannot do this. This is like
oh, and painful.
Yeah, excruciating pain. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. But then I kept telling myself, well, the milk's flowing. Why not? Like, it's just pain. Like, you know, you've been through so much pain. Like, that's okay. Like, you could sacrifice yourself more.
Just a little bit more
just
of you.
A little bit more, right? And because my flow was so good, I just kept on. And after that month, the pain went away, and I think she just started latching on better. And it was fine. And I breastfed her until she was 1, and I went back to work, and yeah.
Wow.
But like when I look at other moms and they struggle with breastfeeding or like they switch to formula, I don't blame them.
Mm-mm.
Like I understand. And I just feel bad sometimes because I know they have a guilt trip because they're like, well, you know, I'm not breastfeeding them. And I totally get it. Like
that was my journey because I don't know how it was for you, but so when I gave birth to my son, the next day, so he was born at noon. The next day at 3, they came to the room and they were like, "All right, Dad, is the car in the front? Like you're going home?" And we were like, "Oh, yeah, okay." But then, so the thing is, the nurse came to the room or she said that a doctor was gonna come and examine my son and see, you know, if everything's okay. And the nurse was saying, so depending, she might ask you to go to your pediatrician tomorrow or in a week from now. And I'm like, depending on what? And she didn't really answer, but I was like, okay. And so the doctor comes and, you know, and I thought he was breastfeeding. And so she examines him and she's like, okay, you're going to have to go to your pediatrician tomorrow. And I'm like, but there's so much going on. You know, we're like, oh, okay. And so, you know, we're trying to call, making sure we can make the appointment for the next day and all that. And so we go home, and the worst night of our life. He was poor thing. He was crying, and so you know you're a 1-day-old parent, and so you do everything by the book, and you're like, okay, he has a clean diaper, he's eating, he's, you know, but he's not sleeping. So what's going on? And you try, you know, you walk with him, you try everything, and we were trying not to have a panic attack at that point, Joshua and I, because we didn't know what to do, but we just had a crying baby that you know seemed to be in pain. So the only thing that was calming him was, you know, having him on me and he was sleeping. So we kind of took turn being like skin to skin, and we were just on the couch, like barely, like to try to get like a couple hours of rest each. And so we would just like watch each other, and then the next morning we just went to the NICU. We just went to the hospital, and we're like, hey, something's wrong. And so that was so hard because he was 1 day old. They put us in a room right away, and there's this nurse from the NICU that comes down with a bottle of formula.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, here, and he ate that thing so fast. Wow, Mirasol, that was the worst moment of my life. I just felt like the worst mom. Yeah. I was a 1 day old mom, and she came in like she knew like all along what was going on, and she was like, oh yeah, he's just not eating. And I'm like, well, yeah, he's supposed to eat from me. So, you know, I'm like, what am I doing? And same as you, I was bleeding. It was so painful, but I was like, you know, it's my role. I'm his mom. I need to feed him. That's, you know, what I'm supposed to do. And then there must be something wrong with me. Yeah. What we didn't know is that he had a tongue tie, like a tongue and lip.
Yeah.
Poor thing, he had both. And so they examined him, and he had jaundice. So they were like, well, then they told us, so you can take him home, but I mean, it would be best if he goes under the blue light, and, you know, what do you want us to say? Give him the care that he needs. Like, I'm not going to take him home if you tell me that he needs to go under the light, you know? So
yeah.
Because we left the hospital, came back in, we were in a special room separate. And so he was under the blue light, and they started feeding him with the formula. So all of a sudden it's like, they were like, oh yeah, you can pump and bring us the milk. And I was in so much pain, but I was pumping as much as I could. And, but then at the same time, it was 1 day old. So I couldn't it's still like colostrum, and it's still the beginning. So you're not even pumping a whole lot, but it's like whatever I could, I was like pressing, you know, as much as I could, and massaging and doing everything that you read about and all that. And we're in the room, and then they're like, all right, well, you can't stay because parents are not allowed to sleep at the NICU. And so I was like, but you want me to leave my 1-year-old baby
Yeah.
and go home? And they're like, yeah, go home, sleep, take a shower. So, well, we had to, so we left. And I remember I wasn't hungry, but we went to like get a slice of pizza at Dion's, whatever. And we're in line and we see a friend of ours that's like, hey, where's your baby? So
Yeah.
I started crying and be like, oh my God, he's in the hospital, all that. And the next day we came back and then, he was better and we could take him home. But what a whole like whirlwind. And then they were like, yeah, well, they were supposed to teach you or tell you were supposed to have a lactation consultant, la, la, la. And I said, yeah, they came to the room, but they said everything was fine and they left.
Oh, they never taught you anything.
No. And so I was like, well, or yeah, they said about sometimes like pinching or I don't know, it's different stuff, but
Like techniques.
yeah, that you try and you think you do right, but it's, and then he looked like he was latching, but no. So the doctor told us, well, he's going to have surgery. But they said, so it's either you do the surgery and you'll be able to breastfeed or it's going to resorb itself, and he's taking the bottle, right?
Yeah.
And so I couldn't, but, I was asking the doctor, I was like, is he going to be in pain if we do the surgery? I didn't want him to be in pain. And so I was just like, we're not going to do that. And so we didn't do the surgery and I was pumping and then I was just bottle feeding him my milk. But it's hard because thinking back, I feel like I never had that connection with my baby, and and it's so awful because when he was born, it's so funny because I think I'll tell him that too when he's older, but when he was born, he pooped on me. But it's funny because when I was pushing, I pooped too. And so I was like,
I pooped on you too, kind of.
I know, I was like, it's okay, we just both pooped
on each other.
And so that poor thing, and and for me, I had that instant love for him when they put him on me.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I started crying and laughing, and I was like, "This is the love of my life. Like this is my baby." And so that I had that love, instant love for him. But then I didn't get to have those moments where it's just him and me, and the feeding and stuff. And so that's something that I regret a little bit, and I just feel like, despite like all the classes and stuff, I feel like I was not made aware of that possibility that that was not going to work, or even like a better follow up. And I was saying, I don't know about your experience, like at the time you had your daughters, because for my mom and my stepmother, the stay in the hospital was like 5 days.
Oh my gosh.
And for me, it was 1 day. And I'm just like, how can you make sure that everything is okay in 1 day?
Yeah.
If I had stayed even one more night, because the thing is that I'm going to be really honest. When the nurse came in the room, she said, okay, so insurance pays for 2 nights, but the doctor's clearing you to go home today. If you ask me, I would have stayed because you never know. But you think about the money and how much it's gonna cost and how much in this and blah, blah, blah. But then I'm like, if we had stayed even one more night, they would have seen that he was not eating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it would have been so different.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so it is what it is. But you live and you learn, and so I'll be more prepared for future pregnancies if it happens. But so I'm so happy to hear your story because you pushed through, and I wish I did. Yeah. Because same, like a week after he was born, my parents came to visit, and I mean, we ran left and right with them, and it's okay, they wanted to see also New Mexico, and I had that belief when they came that they would just help me home and just stay home, and but that was also their week vacation, so I understand, it's fine, but we were just running left and right, and then a month after I had to go back to work 6 days a week being a carrier. So I was trying to deliver mail with the pumps. It didn't work.
Goodness.
So after a month, my supply was nothing. And I was so, I was feeling so guilty. And so I was trying my hardest to pump whenever I had the time.
but I think it wasn't like consistent enough. And so at some point, you know, Joshua was telling me, he told me, because I would have just continued even till today. I would keep pumping if, you know, if I could, but he said, you have to give you grace and stop. You have to, or he said, give yourself like another week or two. But if your supply doesn't come back, it's okay. Yeah. He's okay. He's gonna be healthy. He's gonna be okay. And it's funny because I had that discussion with Joshua's mom, because when Joshua was a baby, he had the same issue. He wasn't latching, and so she also had to move to formula really early on. Yeah. And so she was like, "And see, he's okay. He's an adult. He's smart. He's, you know,
he's
so
smart.
you know, don't worry.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, the guilt is crazy. So thank you for sharing that. Your first like.
Well, I feel like as women, like, we really need to stop like judging each other. 'Cause you know, like, you know how you said like the instant he came on your chest, right, like you fell in love. There's women that goes through like postpartum depression. And I kind of went through that with my firstborn, because at the time my husband was going through tech school in the Air Force. And so he was only allotted, like, I think 10 days or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And so 10 days with the newborn baby, and then he left. And, you know, I did get, like, nice health care. So we had a nurse that come in and, you know, they do, like, a survey, whatever. And one of them was, like, to kind of determine, like, whether you have postpartum depression, right? And one of the questions is, like, you know, how do you feel about this, whatever, or something like that. And I was like blunt. I'm like, yeah, I'm a little sad because my husband's about to leave and I'm going to be alone with my newborn baby. Like, what do you expect? And he doesn't come back until like how many more months later? Like, how do you expect me to feel? And I know a lot of women struggle with postpartum depression after having a baby, and just the different like situations, like, or like even women just trying to have a baby. Like, you know, I feel like we just need to be really supportive of each other, and just be like, I feel you, you know. I always try to be like transparent with other people and like accept people for who they are, and be like, I'm an empath. So no matter what people tell me, I'm just like, oh man, I feel that. Right. Like, you could be the most terrible person, but I'm like, there's some part of you that made you that way, or led you to that decision in your life.
That's true.
But I always believe that people, you know, are good. Well, not necessarily good, but, you know, they're just neutral. But, you know, things in their life, you know, kind of, paved the way for them to be where they're at now. And so I always tell myself, I'm in control of my life, of my path. And so, you know, whatever decisions I make, that's the outcome of it is because of what I chose, not because of somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can't control other things, but I can control me. Yeah. So, yeah, we need to just be supportive of each other.
Right.
And I think that's what I love about the halal is, you know, being like that, you know, having a community. I'm not great about like people supporting me, but man, I will support you. And I think a lot of that is because I didn't have that growing up, that support from my family. So I don't know how to accept it when people give it to me. They're like, I love you. I'm like, oh, okay. I love you too. You know, and I'm awkward about it, but it doesn't mean I don't love you. It's just, I don't know how to accept it, but I do accept it in my heart. Like I'm telling everyone, like I accept it, but I just don't know how to convey that to other people. But I could tell you this much: other women, I'd be like, yeah, you know, when the women are dancing or performing their dances in the hula performances, I am the one to be like, you just, you know, and like I see that they're in their head or like they miss a step. I'm like, oh, I'm going to chihu, you know, get them out of it. And we just have to be like that. My old job, we were very transparent with each other to the point where even like our darkest thoughts, we would discuss it. I feel like sometimes when you have dark thoughts, it doesn't necessarily make you a bad person.
Oh no.
It's just one of those things where I feel like if you talk about it out loud, it's you're able to like process it better and like maybe even change your thoughts. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if it's normal, but I'm sure everyone has dark thoughts.
Oh yeah, I think it's healthy to be able to recognize that you do, but also not just let them be.
Yeah, you can't let it manifest. And so I think that's why it's to me, I feel like it should be healthy to talk about it as long as you don't let it come to fruition, right? Let it stay there as a thought.
Right.
But yeah, we would have very dark humor and just like laugh about dark stuff. But that's, you know, and it gets us through because I think like 2 of my coworkers at the time were parents. And, you know, the other 2 was like, I'm never having kids. And I'm like, cool. Like, I'm not against that either.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know, some people shouldn't have kids. And that's okay, too. Because if you're not ready, why have a kid? And then, like, you know, this kid ends up, I don't know, getting hurt or something like that. Like, and that's fine, too, when people say they don't want kids. Like, we need to be supportive of women that don't want to have kids.
And, you know, by any means, because, and it's funny you say that too, because I talked about my aunt the other podcast too, because I don't think she ever had anyone in her life and she never had kids and stuff, but she's happy.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, well, good for you. Like, you know, if that is your happiness by any means, you know, or other women in my husband's family that, you know, they don't want to have a man in their life anymore, you know, and that's okay too, you know, and I think that's hard for some people too that want people to be happy. Well, they have their own idea of other people being happy. You know, I don't know if it's clear, but like they think that for other people to be happy, they need to have a husband, they need to have children, they need to have the white picket fence, American dream type of thing. But you project. That's in French. I tried to say with an English accent. Yeah, you project.
But I understand.
You project your own happiness onto others, but sometimes it doesn't match. You can't, because that's not how they would be happy. And so, thank you for saying that. And you know, to close that chapter 2 about postpartum is I had the postpartum the first 2 weeks so hard. I had like you know how you feel the waves of contractions? I had the waves of, you could feel the wave of emotion and thoughts coming. Wow. And those first 2 weeks were so hard because also, you know, that first week we were really alone. We've been alone a lot, and I mean, we live far, so that was our choice, and you know, that's the way it is. But it was so hard, and during postpartum depression, you have those thoughts of, what did I do? Why did I have a baby? How am I gonna be a good mom? What are we gonna do? We're never gonna have a night out ever again. Like, you know, we're never gonna sleep ever again. And you have all those thoughts, and of course now they feel so ridiculous because, you know, it's like, it's so true. But also you have that realization of, I'm responsible for this little human for the rest of my life, you know? And now, of course, you know, it's like, you know, it's my son, and nobody's ever going to take him away from me. But the first 2 weeks with the postpartum depression, and that's also what I want to say, is those thoughts are okay.
Yeah.
Please never feel guilty for thinking that, because it's also postpartum depression talking. And it's, you know, and all the guilt of the breastfeeding and the la-la-li and the la-la-la. And oh man, and we go through so much as women already. Yeah. So yeah, no, we have to give ourselves grace for that. And see, same as you were saying earlier, for me and my son, we used to go, we go on walks a lot. And so when he was a baby, well, I still talk to him, but I was like talking to him because, so I wasn't talking to my mom when she passed away. And I mean, I wish we were. And But where I'm going with this is that I feel like my mom, she stopped fighting for us. And I promised my son every day since he was born that I will always talk to him and I will always fight for him. And no matter what, and even if one day he decides to not talk to me, I would always find a way. I will always text him. I will always send him letters. I will always contact him. And because that's my job, you know, and it's, and also because I didn't get that, and I'll never do that to him. And so yeah, I guess it's just a well, I feel like in that way we're similar in the emotions, and being, you know, emotional and all that good stuff, and that's okay too. Damn it.
Well, I know it. See, and the thing too with mental health, the thing that I love about like how it is now, it's becoming more not open, but like accepting.
Yes.
Like, you know, people are more aware of mental like disorders now. Because, you know, those dark thoughts that I talk about, I've always had those, going back to however long. And I could tell you this much, my kids they're my savior. They were sent to me to save me. Because that's the thing too with dark thoughts, when you start to dwell on them and when you feel the guilt, then that leads to, you know, actions, right? But having my girls and like having these goals, or you know how I want to raise them, and wanting to see them fulfill their life, is kind of what stops me. So yeah, it doesn't go away, you know. Those dark thoughts, they don't go away. But, you know, having that support system to be able to talk to people.
Yes.
God, it's, you know, us women need that.
Oh yeah. I feel like you're a sponge. I say that because I feel like I'm a sponge. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes I have those moments where I'm like, it's full. And see, it's funny because I don't know how Mark is, but for Joshua, he doesn't talk too much. I mean, we talk. Okay, that sounded weird. He does talk, but it's like we talk together, but it's like, it's hard. It took him a long time to open up to me. And, you know, we talk about everything, and kind of like you, we don't even have problem sharing those thoughts either. But for me, it's almost like life and death. I have to talk. I have to empty or my sponge, or how do you say that? Like les oreilles. In French.
Squeeze.
Yeah, squeeze and dry it out. You know, it's like,
I agree.
It's vital.
Yeah.
And it's funny you said that earlier, because I feel like we're the same for that. I don't have any problem talking to anybody that I meet, or, you know, we don't have to be friends for like 15 years for me to open up to people.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, I was never really like that. Back in middle school, I was very actually quiet, to the point where like people called me a B word. And they're like, you were different back then. Like, you weren't nice. Like, you were actually a B. And I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. Like, well, I didn't trust people, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't open up to people back then. And I tell like all my friends now, I tell them that, and they're like, that's a lie. I'm like, no, I promise you, like, I was not very talkative. I had very, like, my circle is very small. I mean, I talk to people, but like who I tell them stuff, that amount of people was very, very, very small. And then I think senior year, you know, after going through what I went through in life as a woman, sophomore year, and then, you know, towards the end of high school, I learned to find these people and like opening up to them. And that's the thing too, when you open up to people, sometimes they'll end up disappointing you. And that's okay too when they disappoint you. I've learned that people come and go, like, God puts people in your life for like a season and then they go. And believe me, I remember everyone in my life that has made an impact, even if it's like very minuscule. And I remember them and I'm grateful for them. And I think about them like from time to time, but it's, I never really opened up to people. I learned how to do that. And I learned to be okay when people disappoint me. And I'm like, okay, cool. You're not in my life anymore. That's fine. And then the ones that stay, they stay. And which is weird because I do have like a good group of people that I've been friends with since high school.
Wow.
Yeah, since high school. And then I have my very best friend, Jackie, who I've been best friends with since 3rd grade when we met in kindergarten.
Wow.
So, yeah, and like, you don't have to have like a million people in your life, but if you happen to have a whole community, even better,
Right,
you know? But it's one of those things where it's just like, I'm like you, I learn, I'm a sponge, but then I learn how to squeeze and not bottle it up and like be transparent with people. And then the way I see it is that if they don't accept me for who I am, that's fine. We don't need to be, close or anything like that. Like, that's okay. I'm still going to talk to you. We just, there's just like certain things we can't talk about. And then the ones that are like you, me, like, we click so like quickly, right? And then you find them and then I hold on to them. I don't know about you, but I hold on to people where I'm just like, yeah.
Right.
And I think people get scared to like venture out because they're scared of getting disappointed.
Yeah.
And I think, you won't know.
No, you won't.
And so, sorry to cut you off. No. And the reason, this is how I learn to open up. So, because there's like, let's say there's a group of people and you only talk to this one person because you mesh well with that person, but the other one was like so quiet, right? I've had that and then like a year later of hanging out with the same group of people, then you start talking to that one person that was so quiet. And then you're like, oh my God, like, how come we didn't talk more before? It's like, oh, because you're so quiet, And then you like gel with them even more so, right? And you're like, oh my God, you're my like sister from another mister, right? And then that's when I was like, see, if I would have just opened up to you from the beginning, I would have known that we like, we're, like this. But that was my fault because I hesitated and I was like, oh, I don't think I'm going to get along with her or whatever goes on in your thoughts. Right. So because of that, I learned to just open up. And then if they don't, get the bait or what is it?
Yeah. I guess that makes sense.
If they don't get my bait or whatever. Oh my God, I'm so horrible with these analogies. But anyways, if they don't catch on to my whatever thing.
Bait, yeah.
Whatever then I'm like, okay, cool. Like, go back in the water. Oh my gosh.
No, well, that makes a lot of sense because, I love that. I think I need to do that more. But because for me, I feel like I do that, but I kind of like throw everything on the person and then I leave and then kind of like, are they following me? Type of thing. It's like, yeah, I just told you my whole life story in 20 minutes.
Oh, God.
I think but I think it's because, for the longest time, I think I kept it in a lot. And then I figured out that I needed to let it out. And then it was the opposite. Like, then I was just...
Well, is it because you had that accent? Because I remember when we first met, like your English you thought it wasn't that great, but to me it wasn't bad. Like, I understood you.
Okay.
But like, was that like the barrier, like what kept you from like opening up to people, or not opening up, but?
Well, see, no, the thing is, for me, when I first moved here, and but not at all with like the halau and all the school. But before that, before I met all of you guys, to me, I was like, damn, Americans are mean. Like, I just wanted to have friends. And all the friends that I was talking through my husband, they were not answering me. You know, it's like I would just like, and I've always been like that. I've always been like the one that texts like super long texts and, you know, and say that, you know, people are amazing. And because that's, I feel like we don't say that enough in life. So I'm just like, I'm just going to say it all.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes it's a lot, but I really thought I would be friends with those people, and they were not answering me. Or I mean, maybe they also had their own life and their own thing, but I always thought like, oh, okay, so I was really alone for the longest time. And then I saw it's funny, I actually went to the Wawa Lemonade stand. They had their truck just in front of the halau where it was on San Mateo before, and I saw you all dance, or I don't know if you were. I think we started at the same time at that point. And I saw, girls perform, and I was like, "Oh, I want to do that."
Yeah.
And then I got in, and I was like, "Oh my god, like this is my people."
Yeah.
You know, it's like, "Oh, okay, no, there are people like me in the U.S." But then maybe there was a little bit of the language barrier.
Yeah.
But also, when I, for the longest time before getting pregnant, then I wasn't talking to there was a lot of like family drama. And so I think I needed to talk to I think I needed a therapist.
Yeah.
And the thing is, whenever I was talking to people, I think I just was craving that relationship of being able to tell everything and also be an ear to someone, but I didn't have that. And so, and I was trying not to be too much with Joshua too, because I was like, poor him, like, I mean, we've been like husband and wife, but also best friends since we've known each other. But I also didn't want for him to be my whole, everything. And because then it's not healthy, and so, and I felt like I had that with, the sisters from the school.
Yeah.
And then we moved.
Oh, I know. That was sad.
And so it's been, it's been hard. It's been hard. But maybe we'll move back soon.
I hope so.
We talk a lot about you guys, about you and Mark and the girls, and we're like, oh my God, we really, because we want to hang out with you guys, but we're so far.
Yeah.
But we'll might come back.
I hope so. Hopefully the market will be better.
Right? Yeah. Well, there's different factors. We were about to really look and like move now over the summer.
Oh.
But yeah, the market's crazy. The interest rate is super high, or higher than what we had bought our house for. And so we're like, ooh, and then we just realized that I started my new job in November. So for them to include my income, it needs to be, I think, well, they say 2 years is always the kind of like what you need. But they said, because I was working for the post office before, that I need at least 6 months to show and other conditions. But
yeah.
So we're like, oh, maybe we'll do it over the winter. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Because
no rush.
No, of course. But then at the same time, we're like, we miss friends, we miss family, and as much as we love Edgewood and it's so peaceful, it's so quiet, we love our peace and quiet. It's
I know.
Sometimes it's too quiet.
Well, it's funny because you think you're far, because we're kind of far, and so like we have friends that is like, oh, move up north, and I'm like, yeah, because it's so easy to just sell my house and then go find another house, and then I mean houses in the north are even more than down south, so I'm like, yeah, let me just like scrunch up some money really quick and buy a house up there. But yeah, I mean, it goes both ways.
Right.
I mean, we could go to you guys too.
Oh, I see, right. But I didn't mean it like that. Yeah, no. Yeah, I know.
But like, yeah, I know. So I keep bugging Mark. I'm like, we need to move up north because we're still too far from everybody. Yeah. Because I think we're the only ones in the south.
In the south? Oh.
Everyone else is like up above 40.
Oh, Yeah, you know, we
40.
love the like petroglyph area.
Oh yeah.
This is like a exclusive Albuquerque conversation,
Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
right? We love the like the petroglyph or yeah. But
Taylor Ranch is another good area. It's a little on the older side, but I mean, I wouldn't mind that, or Ventana Ranch. But I mean, it is what it is,
right.
But I mean, we haven't seen each other in a while. Look at, I'm here on your podcast, and
I'm so grateful for you to be here. And see, and the thing is, I know it's not for everybody to be a guest, and that's okay. My purpose is to share stories because we all have crazy stories.
Oh, I know.
And it's crazy because I wasn't ready, I think, to share my story until not too long ago. But I still had that urge to just share other people's stories. And I feel like it's just because of, okay, I need to share this. So, and I think I just shared it in the one that I shared with the episode with C.O.D.A. So I've been thinking about this for so long. But the thing is, I've always been scared of what my family would think. And then I've always also thought, well, I can't listen to people and just be there. I don't want it to be an interview. I want it to be a conversation, and I want to share my own stories and what I went through and stuff. And then I was like, oh, but what are my parents going to, or my family going to say about when I was raped, or when this happened in my life, or when I'm going to talk about the crap I went through growing up and all this stuff, And that's why I always like went to the back burner. I was like, no, I'm not. I don't want to. And then I started talking to my dad again. So I was like, oh, I can't start it now because then I don't want to ruin that relationship. And then actually 4 weeks ago, there was something that happened with my sister. She's going to get married. And so I tried to reunite her with my dad. And that made a big old mess. And that's when I realized my parents are not going to change.
Yeah.
No matter what I do, no matter what I say, they're never going to change. And so what do I do with it? Do I just then put my
You just hold yourself back,
agendas right to the side, or do I just own it and do I just go for it? And I was just like, let's go. And that's why I'm like, whatever happens, it's okay. It's also my truth, and it's also what I've been through my lens, and I don't pretend to know everything or to have the truth even, but it's my truth. And so that's why I was like, no, I want to listen to people and I want to talk to people because I also love talking.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And so that's also my little way of still being on the other side of the mountains, but still talk to people and have connections. And so thank you so much for
no problem.
to share.
Honestly, I have like more stories. This is like, I don't know, like the surface area. So I wouldn't even mind coming back for like more of a deeper thought when like my kids and my husband's not in the same room.
Wink, wink. No,
because I'm like you, like, man, I've been through so much in my life that like I just want to share that with people, and so I remember when you first told me about this podcast, and I was just like, and you like were like, do you want to be my guest? I'm like, yeah, just tell me when you're gonna do it. And then I saw your podcast on Instagram, and I'm like, oh my God, she is really doing. And I told Mark too. I was like, Marie is doing it, and and I reached out to you, and I'm so proud of you. Oh my God. And if it flops, it flops. And if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Right, yes.
But I mean, the whole point of this is like I know that like the internet world or like the public is just like crazy and judgmental for the most part. But there's always that someone out there that needs to hear this story and be like, oh my God, like I'm struggling too. Or, oh my God, that was my life too. Gosh, my childhood was just like that. And like you said, that's the purpose of this, right? Is like to reach out to somebody that's probably has no one to reach out to or, has no one to talk to.
Yeah. And for all of us to realize we are not alone. We're not alone going through what we're going through. And because I feel like, and especially now with social media, we're all in competition all the time.
Oh, I know.
And I'm like, no, it's, we all have our struggles. We all have our successes and, the happy moment. Of course, it's not all bad and it's not all good. And that's, and I want to just give the mic to just people like you and me, like I just said, I just shared it on Instagram too. I don't, and by the way, I said I don't give a C. That means I don't give a crap. It's funny. I shared the reel, and then Joshua came to the room because I was about to go to bed, and he was like, "What did you mean?" I was like, "Well," he said, "Yeah, you said I don't give a C. You know, shit is spelled with a S, right?" I was like, "I know. That's what I meant."
Well, I'm a potty mouth. I cuss a lot.
I do too.
And when the kids were small, I didn't because they were small,
Right,
and I didn't want them to
you
get that habit. But now they're older, I'm like, oh, their friends cuss
whatever.
all the time. So if I cuss, it doesn't even matter as long as they don't do it around adults and like little kids. So that I was trying so hard not to say certain things. I'm like, Mirasol, make sure you don't say that word. So crap is not like a bad
crap
word.
is not bad.
No,
Yeah,
it's not a bad word.
Yeah, that's why it was like, oh, you could have said crap. You didn't have to say I don't give a C. I was like, well, yeah.
Goodness.
But so no, and it's, and I know because of it too, it's gonna take a long time to monetize the podcast or try to have sponsors and stuff, because I mean, it's not making money right now. I'm paying for the studio too, so if anything, it costs me money.
Yeah.
But it's okay because that's not what it's about, and that too because I'm trying to share and I'm trying to be a presence on social media. But that's what Joshua told me too. He was like, be careful, don't also like over exhaust yourself, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because that's how you're gonna last on the long run.
Yeah.
But, we'll see where it takes us. But yeah, I mean, the goal, of course, I'm not going to lie. Of course, if I can make money and if I can quit my job and for it to be, I can be full-time podcast.
Yeah.
The end goal, because I joined you, like we're circling back to when you were younger and you said you had a plan and stuff. For me, everything that I started in my life, I've always thought of it like 52 steps ahead.
Oh.
And so the podcast, my dream is to have a little like trailer type of thing, but like a studio on wheel, and just travel around America and interview people everywhere.
See, you just reminded me of something from my childhood. So because my life was so centered around my parents being deaf and mute, one of my dreams as a kid was, so, when you watch TV, right, they have different type of networks, right? Mm-hmm. They have BET for, the Black community. And then they have, what's the other ones? But like, different TV networks. And I was like, what if I created a deaf network where it's just nothing but, like the shows that they have on there are deaf actors or hard of hearing actors. Wow. And so just everything that they do is in sign language, so that like the deaf community has a channel that they can tap into and be like, oh, that's my favorite show, or, that's my favorite host. And that was like one of the things I thought of as a child, but,
Yeah.
Life happens, and yeah. So,
yeah. Well, so maybe hopefully, you'll always be a part of the podcast, and we'll come back to different episodes. But
yeah. I mean, there's other topics that I would like to discuss later on, because, my life, as a C.O.D.A, being a child of deaf adults, and then like my life being as an immigrant, first generation, Asian American, like life like that, I want to.
Oh, yes.
That's something like I would like to discuss. We already discussed being, motherhood, and then being a military wife, life of that. Like that's something I would like to discuss. And yeah.
So the podcast is meant to be long form. Like, it's like,
I wasn't sure because I was like, oh, we've been talking for a while, but like,
oh no,
Lester's probably here all bored out of his mind listening to this. Like, oh, they talking about motherhood, like, ugh.
the fun part.
Sorry. I'm a little weird.
Oh no, you're good. The fun part is though, the episode with Aritza, we were talking, and then I see, because I can't see him, but then he was just like that, and then he stood up and he showed me 10, and I was like
10 more minutes?
and I was like 10. It's been, and then I was like, in my head I was like, because Aritza needed to leave after 2 hours, and so I was like, so it's been an hour 50, and then so I'm trying to wrap it up, and it's so hard because at the end she said stuff, and I wanted to keep like talk. We could have talked for 6 hours, I think, but so I was like then leading the conversation to okay, well we'll have to do part 2, and then it cuts, and we were like. We looked at the time, and it's been 3 hours, and she was like, "Oh, I need to go," because she needed to relieve her nanny. La 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 la.
Yeah.
And so we were like, "Huh? There's no way it's been 3 hours," and it was. And so that was crazy. Same with Josh. Josh was funny too, because he was like, "Well, let's just do like a 30-45 minute interview." And I was a little disappointed because it was going to be my first recorded one. So I was like, well, yeah, but it's meant to just have the flow of a conversation, and whenever it ends, it ends. And we ended up talking 2 hours 46 minutes
Oh
too.
my goodness.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could have kept going on and on too, but I'm just like, okay. Yeah. And yeah, there's stuff I wanted to discuss, but I'm like, oh man, this is why the kids shouldn't have been here. It would have been perfect. Yeah.
Oh,
but
well,
we'll discuss that now.
Yes. All right. So, where would you like to go to me to take you? Because I can take you to after high school. What did you guys do? Because you were still together, but then when did Mark start military?
So
do you want to
we'll
go
go
that route?
back to when I had McConey,
Okay.
and then why I was upset about her being a girl.
Okay. See, because I could tell.
Let's get to the nitty gritty now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
Let's get tissue. Do we have tissue?
Oh.
Yeah. Let's get tissue for this.
Whew.
Because it's gonna happen.
Okay.
And you know what? There might be some upset people. That's fine.
I love you, sister. That's all, And see, and that's my thing for too, as a little like parenthesis. It was that I felt the same as you. I have no idea what you were going to talk about, but I'm really happy to listen. But see, I was like, I think people need to hear my story too and what I went through, and because it's more important than what my family's going to think about it. Of it, or my old friends that were pieces of shit, but whatever. No, but
yeah.
Because that, like, a big thing about my rape is oh, thank you, I thought I had friends, oh, thank you, and they were not friends. And, so yeah, so, it's like, and they can know that I don't give a C.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. I think it's fine. I'm like, this thing always comes.
Let's adjust ourselves.
All right. Okay.
Have it ready. Oh my God. Here we go.
Okay. Are we good to go?
Yeah. We're
Okay.
good to go.
We're alone now.
Yes. My kids and my husband left because this is going to be the real deal now.
Nice. So, nice. That sounds like, yeah. No, but let me take you back. So earlier you mentioned, that you cried when you were pregnant with your first girl.
Mm-hmm.
And, because you said you didn't want to have a girl.
Yes.
Can we talk about that?
So, I cried because I didn't want to have a girl, I didn't want to have to raise someone that might go through the same things that I went through.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a victim of like sexual abuse. So when it first happened was with my own dad. Oh. So my family, nobody really knows about this except for like really close friends.
Okay.
But I think the first incident was with my dad. And I really want to say it was a mistake, but some part of me is like, no, it can't be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's differences.
Yeah.
How do you not know the difference? And so that kind of like created a drift with my dad because I was a daddy's girl, actually. And so it was just like from then on, like I looked at everything that my dad did or like everything that he was doing at the moment and just like judge him on everything. And yeah, that was rough. The second time it happened was it was one of my parents' friends, and he would be like around kids. And I don't see, and that's the thing too, when you're a victim, like you have these memories or these thoughts, and then you tell yourself, like, was that a memory? Or did I make this up? Did I just dream it one day? But that's part of like the whole being a victim. Like you know, you kind of try to erase it so that when it does come back, like, you know, it doesn't seem real, right? So like the second time it happened was like, you know, my parents' friends, but it wasn't necessarily to me. I think it was to my cousin.
Okay.
Because my cousin had come with us to the party, and I was like, what is this guy doing? So that was like the second time. And then a third time was my cousin's boyfriend. We were all sleeping in the living room, and I was on the couch, and he did stuff. So it's just like multiple things that like added on. And you know what? It might upset people, whatever. And I didn't really know how to process. No one ever knows how to process it, right? Like they're just always scared and they blame themselves. And that's kind of what I did. And it's weird because I brought up the whole thing about my dad, like, I think 3 years ago with my best friend, like over the phone, like we were catching up. And she was like, oh, that explains why you would always tell me to not be around your dad. And I'm like, I don't remember telling you that. And she's like, yeah, you would always tell me like, don't be around my dad, or like something in that sense. Right. Okay. So I was like, then my memories have to be real, because why would I tell my friend that? And then I don't even remember her me telling her that. Right. So nothing like super serious, but enough to be like, you know, I'm part of that Me Too movement.
Yeah. But don't say nothing
yeah,
too serious.
Yeah, I know. See?
Because it is serious.
Already,
right?
I'm like trying to downplay it, right? And that's what we do. And it's so stupid. But yeah, so I cried because of that. I didn't want my girls to go through that. And they don't know it, but I think they sense it. And I'm sure my oldest senses it or kind of has an idea, because she's turning 16. Right. She has to have an idea of why I say certain things to her when I tell her, you can't do this. This is why, you know. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I cried. Or that was the main reason why I cried. And just, you know, it's hard. It really is hard being a woman. Like, you know, this expectation of having a family. Like, well, if you don't have kids, you're not successful. But, you know, if you don't breastfeed, you're not successful, right? That's why I love that Barbie movie, right? That one scene with America, is that her name? Ferrera?
Oh, yeah, I think
that
so.
That speech that she made, like, it's so freaking true. It's like, whatever we do, it's never enough.
It's never enough.
Like, you know, if I'm too protective, like, oh, well, you're right? Like, it's just, the expectations are crazy. And I'm not saying men don't get it. I know men gets it too. And, you know, like the suicide rate for men is, you know, just as high. But yeah, that was, and I've never like really told like someone like consecutively, like all the things that's happened. Like one person knows this one story, the other person knows that story. So now everyone knows. But yeah, that's why.
I'm so sorry. Because, and I believe you also, because that's another thing. And you know, we just talked about family and stuff, and growing up, I came to learn that my grandpa raped my aunts. and that also he collaborated with the Nazi. Well, you know, I think my grandpa was a piece of shit, and I think like he is the definition of that. I truly believe that, and that's okay, because I mean, you know, but I grew up, and I think I was really young when I learned that, and maybe too young at that time. But also, I mean, at this point, stuff that, you know, what I was saying with my sister, and what, you know, her getting, she's gonna get married and stuff, and that I tried to reunite her with my dad. We have grievance about our childhood and stuff that happened, and there was a lot of violence and physical and also like there was a lot of abuse and a lot of verbal abuse too, on top of the, you know, being hit and all that. And it's something that for some reason my dad is not hearing, or for him it's almost like he had an explanation, and it's okay because he did his best to raise us, because my mom wasn't raising us, and so he had like mostly like most of our custody, all that, and so for him it's almost like, well, it's okay because I mean I did my best to raise you, so it was okay for me to call you fat or stupid or to hit you because, you know, I did my best. And that's something that we're older now, and we don't want to hear that. And the thing is, he said something that kind of shocked me the other day, but he was like, well, how do you translate that? You should be happy because, I mean, I could have raped you. You
No.
Like my dad raped my sisters.
Are you serious? Why would you? I don't understand. Why would you say?
Why would you
like
say that?
Yeah.
And I talked with one of my sisters about it, and he said the same thing to her when she was younger, and I was so shocked because I was like, what? And then my other sister was like, well, that's all that was missing, you know, and all the abuse and the thing, and I'm just like, he just threw that out there, and I was like, I think I just decided not to answer him on that, because I was just like saying like, how can you say that? And so I'm so sorry that you went through that, because it's so traumatic. But then on top of it, how can you build yourself as a woman when it happened with your dad and then with other family members?
Yeah.
It wasn't one occurrence. And
no,
so
it wasn't. And then I feel like the crazy part about it was I had a closer relationship with my dad. Like, I was one of those clingy kids. And so it was hard to accept. And that's why, like, whatever I remember is very, like, fragment pieces of it. And I'm like, that doesn't feel like it really happened. Like, I must have just dreamt that. And that's the hard part too, is like, because they're deaf and mute, it wasn't like I could just tell my mom, you know what I mean? So it was just like, because it was my dad. And then to, you know, add on to that is the language barrier. Like, how do I explain this to my mom? And even then it was like the fear of what is my mom going to think?
What is he going to say?
Yeah.
What is she going to say?
And that's part of it, because, you know, being an immigrant, and because they were deaf and mute, had very little education, they didn't have good jobs, so we were poor. And we were living in this 1 4-bedroom house with like 10 people. So my uncle and his 3 kids lived there. My auntie lived there. My mom and dad and me and my brother in one room. So that's why it happened, because I used to sleep on the same bed with my mom and dad, because we only lived in one room, and then my brother had his bed in one room, and so that's how it happened.
Yeah. So see, you said earlier that it was a mistake. It must have been.
It must have been, but I'm like, I was a child. You know, anatomically,
there was no confusion.
It's it's not possible. But yeah, it was hard. because I did have that close relationship with my dad. But then I looked at him differently, and I acted differently towards him, and like had very little respect for him. And even when I had the kids, like he was so happy, like with my girls, and it almost made me kind of sad, because then it just like brought up my childhood and my closeness with him. And I know he loves kids, and he would have loved the girls, but there was that fear in me. I'm like, I can't leave you alone with them. And I used to always tell the kids, I'm like, you can't stay alone with Lolo. That's what grandpa in Tagalog. So the fact that I said that to my kids, and then my best friend told me that I told her that when we were kids, I'm like, then it did happen. That was like confirmation. But yeah, like none of my family knew. And then I think what made it more hard is the expectation of taking care of them. When my dad got diabetes, and it was just like, I have to take care of you, but you did this to me. But I have to respect you because you're my dad. And so, you know, setting myself aside and just be like, okay, I don't remember this. You're just my dad, and I'm going to take care of you. But that was my challenge. And I think, I don't know. And I think some part of me was kind of upset with my mom, because like, okay, we're all in the same bed. You must have known something. Like me, I'm always paranoid right around my kids. And I'm like, who's that you're talking to? Or like, who's at the door, you know? Like your instincts just kick in. And I'm like, where was your instincts? Why didn't you do anything? Some part of me like thinks that. And so in a way, I like lost respect for her too. And I used to respect her so much when I was little. I used to think she was the strongest woman ever. And now I'm just like, you know, the more I take care of her, I'm just like, what happened? Like, I thought you were this independent woman. Yeah. So I made it a point to be a mom that's going to be everything that she wasn't for me. And finding that balance, you know, like you don't want to, like you said, you don't want to be overprotective. Right. You know, I still want my girls to grow and like figure themselves out, but it's hard, you know, because part of that is like literally having to let go and trusting that, you know, whatever they go through, they're going to make it through just like I did. See, it's hard. And you know what? It's not any different for men when they go through that too. Yeah. Or like boys. Right. I'm not saying, you know, it's, yeah. But that's what I went through.
I think, you know, like you said, I mean, I wasn't there, but there's no way. I mean, you know, she must have, or even she must have had her doubts, you know?
Yeah.
And then I have no idea, like, what she was going through. And if she was victim of abuse herself, it doesn't change the fact that... And that's possible too. It doesn't change the fact that it was okay for her to turn a blind eye.
Yeah.
And so...
You know what? When one person disappoints you, there is always another person that protects you, or that fulfills something that one person couldn't do.
Yeah, but in that case, but the people that were supposed to protect and watch over you and guide you and were the first one to fail you, though.
True, and that's what is heartbreaking. But what my dad did to me, my uncle was like the opposite. So this is the same uncle that lived in the same house with the 3 boys. And he became my father figure.
Okay.
Strangely enough. And I remember I would hold his hands like when we would go to the mall. And he doesn't have girls. He has 3 boys. And he would be like protective of me. Like, you know, as a kid, you know, I walked around in my underwear and that wasn't okay, you know, because I'm a girl and there's like how many people in the house, like that's not okay for you to walk around your underwear. And he would tell me that. And, you know, as a kid, like I'd wear a dress. I didn't wear shorts back then. That wasn't a thought. And, you know, you're a kid, so, you know, your legs are all in the air or whatever. And he would be like, hey, cover your privates. Like, don't,
He was
you
there
know,
for you.
he was there for me. And hopefully he sees this one day and he sees like what impact he had in my life. But he was that father figure for me at that time when that happened. But like you said, it's like the people that are closest to you were the ones that failed me. Yeah.
And the brain is a smart machine, right? Because you just blanked it. You remember, but it's almost like it's protecting you because, you know, the process of thinking, wait, it feels like a dream almost, like, you know, so did it happen? It's also a protective mechanism to, you know, to save you from that. But then sometimes something triggers it. And, you know, for some people it's a smell. For some people it's just like a noise or a music or a conversation. And it's like a memory is unlocked. And kind of like that conversation you had with your best friend. And then for her to say, no, you told me not to be alone or around your dad. And it's like, sling. Oh, you know, it's...
And I think for the longest time, I didn't know anything or remember anything. I know one of the triggers is like grown men being around me. Like I was never comfortable. And I'm like, why am I never comfortable around like grown men? It's just weird. Or like men giving me like compliments. Like it was most like, ew, why? So yeah. And I remember like having my girls, and they were really young. And they, you know, they're very social, as you know. And when we go on road trips, like we'll stop at like a restaurant and there's always some gentleman that's like, oh my God, your girls are so beautiful. Like, I just can't believe it. And I'm like, you know, I'm flattered, but at the same time, like, okay, thank you. Like, and that's the thing too, when you become a victim, like finding that balance of like, okay, well, I don't want to be too rude, but at the same time, like you want to be like,
back off.
Excuse me, that's not appropriate. Like, it's hard. Yeah.
I can't imagine because, and see, with my grandpa, I met him maybe twice in my life, and once I was young, and I remember being so infuriated because I've never met him, and all I heard was, that was before I knew who he was, but because if I had known at that point when I met him, I think I was so like opinionated that I think I would have said something, but he's never been in our life, and at that point I just knew that he was really strict to my dad, and he was not there. He's never been there, and he never paid child support to my grandma for my dad and his brother, and so he's at my uncle's, and we met him there, and it was for like, it's Saint Nicolas. It's beginning of December in Belgium. We have Christmas like you guys, but then December 6th we have what we call Saint Nicolas. It's he comes from Spain with a donkey and he on a boat, and then he brings gifts to children. Very long story short for that celebration. And so, but you get gifts on December 6th as a Belgian child, and then you get gifts from, you know, on Christmas. So you get twice gifts on,
I like
December. But so we go, and he had a suitcase full of gifts and sweets and stuff. And I remember at that time my stepmother's dad, who was really my grandpa, passed away. And so we went to meet that man that played like as if he was like this wealthy or that, you know, the caring grandfather. And I was so mad because I was like, no, that's not my grandpa.
Yeah.
And I was made aware of stuff like too young at that point already. But, and so that was one time. And then second time it was, so long story short, it was actually, my family's supposed to be really wealthy. But that wealth stopped at my grandfather because he left my grandma and married another woman, and he put everything on her name. And as soon as he did, that lady said, adios.
Oh,
the door's there.
Karma's up. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so all the wealth that was there is gone with her family. And so, but you know, it is what it is. But, and so he was left with nothing. And so he got sick and all that, and then he went to just we have like what we call a social house in Belgium. It's for people without money. And so there's like also like how do you call that, those where old people go to spend their last days.
Oh, the hospice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so there was like hospice but for poor people.
Oh.
And so he was in there. And at the time I was 18, I was in politics, and he was so proud of his granddaughter that was like in politics and had opinions and, you know, and this and that, and was beautiful or whatever. And apparently he wrote me letters, but that my dad never gave me because he said they're inappropriate letters.
Oh my God.
I know this dude is like, he deserves his, I don't know. So, you know, but I went to see him because he was about to die. And so my dad was like, you know, he wants to see you. And that's also when he had given me the letter in my hand, like one of the letters. And when we left, my dad said, give that to me. I want to read it before you do. And so, and I never got to read that letter. To this day, I don't know what's in there, but I had one of the, you know, the poster with my name and the number because I was on the list for politic elections and stuff. And so I went and we talked for a little bit, and very strange encounter at that point. But yeah, but because also I knew at that point, I knew what he did to my aunts and stuff. And so I knew he wanted to see me, but I was like very, you know, on my guards. I don't know if you say that. And so I was like, oh yeah, hi, you know, yeah, that's me, you know, and he was so proud of, because my maiden name is Van den Avond, and so my maiden name was on those posters, and he was like, oh, you should be proud of that name. And in my head, I'm like, you piece of crap. Yeah. You spit on that name by everything you did.
Yeah, it's already tainted.
Yeah. so no, but all right, you know, and so I don't know why I'm coming back to that, but I lost my train of thought in this, but
you were gonna go see him.
Yeah,
and you were on your guard.
And I don't remember, but I wish that at that time I was strong enough to just tell him, you know, that what he did was wrong, and in so many levels, like the collaboration with the Nazis and all that, because we found a passport of, you know, with the swastika and the stuff, and it's like, oh wow, let's burn this family secret that I'm telling on the podcast today. It's like, you know, it's like, because then also I was strongly, it's funny, it's not funny actually, but that expression sometimes is really wrong, but growing up, I was, do you say activist? Like I was in school, I was involved in, we went to visit camps, and so on my stepmother's side, my grandma was always part of like groups to have the commemorations and stuff live, and so I would always go and carry flags and flames and stuff to, you know, to carry on with the commemorations, and for history never to happen again. And my stepmother's dad, my grandpa, he fought in the Korean War. So every year the Korean government invites grandchildren of war veterans to go on commemoration. So I went for 1 week to South Korea, and it was insane. And so, and my whole like life at that point was being there and being a voice for history. And then I learned that from my grandfather,
Yeah.
it was, to me, I felt betrayed, and I felt like I needed them to do even more to, kind of make up for it, even though there is no making up for that. But that was a complete other conversation I didn't expect to talk about, but it's okay. It's okay. And so, but growing up, I mean, how do you build yourself and build your confidence as a woman, your sexuality? How do you build yourself after that?
I don't know how I did it, honestly. I just know the main things I wanted was, okay, I'm going to find a man that won't do that if I ever had kids. And, just finding a man that had a good heart. And I don't know, as far as like myself, I'm still not comfortable in my own skin. Mm-hmm. So even back then I was like, oh, I'm too fat, and would always cover myself. Like I would wear men's board shorts, like to swim, and then like a tank top. I was never comfortable. So even to this day, like I'm still at that stage. But I don't know. I just know I told myself that like the things that I didn't like or the things that happened in my life, I'm going to make sure I don't repeat those same things. You know what I mean? And let's say, have it be someone in my life that does it, like learning to be okay to cut people off of my life too. I think sometimes we get so scared of being lonely, and we're like, no, mm-hmm. Like I can't break up with them, or, like I can't not stop talking to my mom or my dad, creating those boundaries of like, okay, like, you're my mom and dad. I have a duty to take care of you, but there's a boundary too. Mm-hmm. Like my family's going to come first type of thing. So creating those boundaries is another thing. Yeah, it's hard.
Right. How did you talk to Mark about it?
Yes. I think very early on, even before we had kids, I had talked to him about it. And I had discussed with him, like, this is what happened in my life. If we ever have kids and you do the same thing, I will have no problems, like, cutting you out. Sorry. But yeah, like, I have no problem, like, ruining your reputations and letting the whole world know what you did. And making sure that, you become on that, what is it, sex offender?
Oh, sex offender list.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Just going to the extremes. That's kind of close to killing them. Just kidding. Without torturing them. Right. But yeah. Yeah, so he knew about it. And I remind him from time to time now that my kids are older too. And not because like I think he will.
No, but yeah.
So the reasoning behind it too is because we have in our thought to be a certain way, right? Like, this is who I am. But we also have to understand we're human, and that there's like this inner, not craving, but like, why do people cheat? Like, why do people steal? Mm-mm. And, at the moment, you don't think about it. You just do it, right? Because that's something you want. And so I had to tell myself that, as much as, you say you won't do it, when it gets to the moment where you accidentally see something, what are your thoughts going to be? Mm-mm. What are you going to do? You know what I mean? Right. And we can always say that we wouldn't, but you never know until it happens. Like, you could say that I will always protect my kids. Mm-mm. When a burglar comes in, I'm going to make sure I stab him or shoot him. But you won't know until it happens, right? Will you have the gut to get up there and actually stab that person, or, get your whatever gun and actually shoot them? You don't know that until it actually happens. And I started thinking that way when I heard about this one story about like a couple that like was drowning in the sea, because I think they're on a boat or something.
Okay.
And something happened where like they ended up drowning. And so the husband ended up saving himself and not his wife, but his wife died.
Okay.
And I'm like, see, that's what I mean. You know, when it gets to that moment, you can say like, oh, you know, I'm gonna bite the bullet for you. But when it happens, what are you gonna do?
Right.
So that's when I thought about that. And I'm like, you know, as much as I want to say I'm this and that, I won't know until it actually happens. And I'm in like put in that situation. So even now when I'm like, I want to protect my kids, like I won't really know.
Right.
But one thing I know for sure is I will try. Yeah.
That made me think, it's like not really related, but I told Joshua, you know how people say when, like, if I were to die tomorrow and then Joshua is, I mean, he's 34, he could still like have another life with someone else. And you know how people say, oh, she would have want you to be happy. I told Joshua, I never want you to remarry. Like I'm the love of your life, you're mine. I will never remarry, or you know. So I'll come haunt you.
Oh my God.
But you know, when people are like, no, she would want you to be happy. No, I would not want you to be happy. I want you to cry me until your last
until your last breath.
See, you know, when people, you know, yeah, that's true. When a lot of people say, I'd never do this or I'd never do that, or I'm gonna be this type of parent. I'll never give an iPad. Like same way we were circling back to the beginning, or I'll never, you know, my kid will never drink something sweet or eat candy. No, it happens, and you know, and you just have to find that balance, and you always also have to be honest with yourself. I feel like, and your partner, because, I mean, this is going to be the worst example in history of examples, I think, but I watch Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, yeah. I watched the whole thing, too.
And I don't know if you followed the history with, like, Teddy and Owen, and they just have an open marriage now, whatever. And so they're deciding to both be okay to see other people.
Yeah.
And Teddy started, like, she saw a woman and she was about to have an intercourse with her, but then she realized that wasn't actually her thing.
Yeah.
And it was more like the attention, I think. It's a show, but you know, it's I try always to, you know,
somewhere in
like
the world
read.
that really does happen, though.
But then for him, though, he went on and had a sexual intercourse with someone else.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden she's like, she feels betrayed. But, you know, so it's like, well, yeah, so you are tempted by someone else, and then when it actually comes to happen, then, you know, she changed her mind, but he didn't. And so it's like, and in my head, I'm like, I can never imagine that with Joshua. But some people have open relationships, and, you know, I mean, to each their own.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever do that in my relationship.
And that's not what you want. Yeah.
No.
So, like, you know, you want him to be on the same page with you.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, in the beginning too, I was so insecure. And so I would kind of, my mom was very jealous. She was a very jealous woman. And I feel like I kind of like repeated that in the beginning of my relationship with Joshua. And almost like kind of sometimes even like looking at his phone or seeing like, or, you know, or showing him a girl and be like, oh, she's beautiful, huh? But in my head, I was like, don't you dare say she's beautiful. You know? And, or you expect them to say, oh no, but,
you're more
beautiful than her, or stuff like that. It's ridiculous. But, I was so insecure that at some point, you know, I was always like, oh, I'm fat or I'm ugly. Oh, la, la. I think I told you that story. I told it on this.
But does that insecurity come from you being a victim?
Well, you know, I think it comes from both. I think it comes from that. And because I want to talk about that too. I don't know if you're going to be comfortable talking about that for you. But growing up, I mean, if I think about it, that's also crazy. So when I was 18, I went to visit my godfather in the U.S. And before that, I was really skinny. But my parents always called me fat. I was always called fat, like
Oh
my whole
my
life.
goodness.
I was the fatty. And then like at some point, the thing is like we were not really allowed to eat breakfast in the morning. And so and then I would pack lunch for my brothers and sisters, but there was never enough for me and my sisters. So, and when I say my brothers and sisters, I mean the smallest one, but then the 3 older one, there was never enough for us. Or there was enough as was like sugary sandwich with like salami. And I was like, well, honestly, I'd rather not eat. It's like, you know, it's well. And so we would not eat all day. And so when we would go home and eat at night with everybody at the table, damn right, I'm going to eat 2 plates. I'm starving.
Yeah.
You know?
You didn't have breakfast or lunch.
Right? But then my stepmother would always be like, one time she said, oh, it's not a fork that Marie has to eat. It's a pitchfork.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, it hurt me so bad. And I was so thin at the time too, but all right. And so all my childhood, I was the fat one, even though I was not. And then I went to America when I was 18 for a month to visit my godfather, and I gained 20 pounds. Oh. Came back, and that was at that time I just had my period too. So it was like I had it all at once. And no, I didn't have my period. I had my period, I think at 16, but I started the pill.
Oh, okay.
Around that time. And so I gained the weight from the pill from being in America, and then I went back home. And the next summer I worked. Then came Christmas, and so my dad shared like Christmas pictures on his Facebook, and then he came back from work one day and he said, "Oh, Marie, all my everybody at work said that you gained weight. It's all older." I was 18, and it's all older men. And in my head, I'm like, and you think it's appropriate? First of all, you think it's appropriate, but then second of all, you let all them like say that. I would like when I told that story to Joshua, he told me, I would have told him, "Are you looking at my daughter?"
Oh yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like defend me. What the heck?
Yeah, like you really let all those older men just talk about me, like, "Oh yeah, your daughter. Oh, she gained weight." Like, huh? But so there's a lot of like everything was always about my weight growing up. And then when that trauma happened, I think it was, so the thing is, I think I was craving being loved, and I was craving someone liking me. And I've never really had boyfriend. And at that point, when that happened, I was 22 or 23, and maybe I had like, my sexual experience at that point was like, one or two men before that, like once or twice, I'm gonna say. And so after that I was like so close. So the thing is, I talk about it in the second episode. It wasn't a very I don't think a lot of people listen to that episode, but so what happened is, in a nutshell, is I don't remember why, but I had a best friend. He was a singer, and he tried to be a professional singer, and I was there to support him and everything. Everybody thought I was in love with him. I was not, but he was my best friend. And on Thursdays in Belgium, there's like a famous spot in Brussels where there's like parties Thursday nights, but it's from like 6 to 10 because people go to work on Fridays.
Yeah.
And so I don't remember what I was celebrating, but I remember I was celebrating something. And I told my best friend, I said, "I'm going to drink tonight. I don't really drink. One mojito, I'm good."
Yeah.
You know? But I was like, whatever, but you bring me home. Yeah. We go, and then we meet some of us, like friends. There's a whole group, and so we're there dancing and stuff. I don't remember much. I remember dancing. I remember having fun, dancing and being around his friends, but, you know, and some of my friends. And then comes the end of the night. And he's like walking ahead, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go get the car. Just wait there at the corner of the parking lot, and I'll just pick you up and I'll drive you home." Okay. I wait there. I didn't see him. Go. And I looked. I was there. I looked. And then I see this guy that was part of the group that stopped, and he was like, "Hey, come in. Like, I'll take you home." And I was like, No. My best friend, he's going to come. He's going to pick me up. He's driving me home. No, he called me. He said you were not there. And so he left.
Oh my God.
And I was like, "No, what? I called him and I was like, where are you? He said, Marie, you were not there. I was like, I've been here.
In the same spot.
Yes. And he said, no. And so later on, I learned that it was actually like he asked him to bring me home, like the other guy.
Oh, he twisted the story around.
And so, and all of a sudden there's this girl that's actually in the back, already in the car. And she's like, oh, it's okay. He's driving me home too.
So of course you're going to trust him because there's a
Voilà.
girl in the
So
back,
I'm like,
right?
Sure. You know, and if you ask me, yeah, he was cute. It didn't cross my mind. He was a friend of my best friend. It wasn't like that in my head. And so I'm just like, sure. And so he's like, oh, looking at the girl. And he's like, are you okay for me to drive you home first, right? It's, you know, because then it's on my way. And then Marie's apartment. And then it's my way home. It's easier for me. Sure. And so, but then all of a sudden, when I came in, I actually went in the back. And she went to the front. Okay. So I was like, okay, cool. He drops her. And then he's like, oh, she opens my door when she leaves. And she's like, oh, do you want to go move to the front? And sure. I don't know. See, sure, I go to the front. And then we park at my studio. And then he starts kissing me. And and from there, blackout. I don't remember anything. At that point, I wake up, like my conscience wakes up in my bed with him on top of me. Oh. And I was like, instantly, I wasn't drunk. I mean, I don't feel like I was really drunk before, but you know, it's like.
Were you roofied?
I don't know. But I pushed him. I was like, go away. And then he stood up and he was like, oh, there's blood everywhere. And I was like, well, yeah, like what are you doing? Like, what's going on? And I pushed him and then I was yelling and then and then he left and then I was looking for my phone and I couldn't find my phone.
Oh my gosh.
And my phone was in his car. And so I checked my iPad and I don't know. I remembered I didn't have my best friend's number or contact on the iPad for some reason, but I remember that on Messenger, I could contact a girl that I know that knew him. Okay. And so I called her and I said, tell him to bring my phone back. And she's like, all right, let me call him. And then she calls me back and she's like, Marie, he's drunk. He's already home. He's not going to bring your phone back today. I'll bring your phone back tomorrow. Tomorrow. I need to go to work. Yeah. In a couple hours. Yeah. And I was like shaking and I was like in shock. And my bed was full of blood. So I took the sheet out and the sheets out. I didn't have a washing machine at that time. I needed to go to the laundromat. So I was like, okay. So I pushed it aside and then my mattress was full of blood. So I was like, okay. So I went to the, like mechanically, I went to the freezer and I got some ice cubes and I put everything on my mattress. Like, I don't know. And then I put salt. I had some type of recipe in my head. I was I don't know, you know. And then I was there with my iPad and I was like, how the hell am I going to wake up to go to work? Because, I mean, at that point, your technology and stuff, your phone is everything. Yeah. And it was 10 years ago, but it was already everything at that point. And damn, it was already 10 years ago. And so I didn't sleep because I was too scared to not wake up. So I went to work, like looking like white as a sheet. And I was just waiting. And the thing is, at that time, I was walking to work 40 minutes and I had my headphones with my phone, my music and stuff. And so it was the longest walk of my life to work with nothing but my thoughts and then the work day and then coming back home. And at that point, I had told them I'd be home at like 4:30. So I said, he has to be there at 4:30 with my phone. And, you know, and I told her right away, tell him to turn off my phone and, you know, all that. And so I went home. I had all the shutters off, like it was like a cave. And I waited, and then I heard him ring the bell. I had a security door, a little hall, and then there was a little studio. And then there was like the living room with my bedroom and all that. And so I waited. I opened the door, grabbed my phone, and then shoved the door in his face. And he was knocking. I was like, Marie, let's talk. There is no talking. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? And so that was it. And then a couple of days later, my best friend told me, because then I told him, I was like, you let me alone with him. Like I asked you to bring me home. And I was like, you danced with him all night. I thought you wanted it. What?
Yeah. That doesn't mean anything.
So because I danced with you, I want to have sex with you? Like, no. So yeah. So I just left it at that too because I wanted to go to the police, but then, you have the damn. I didn't expect to be shaky, but it's so funny because we were talking about it earlier, but I feel like we talk about our trauma like it's nothing, like we're gonna go buy a baguette. And I had talked about it with a therapist at some point, and then I was like, okay, so that was my story, and then I moved on to another point, and she was like, no, let's go back. And
But then when you start describing it in detail and like you relive the story in your brain, then you like your body like responds to that, and then you start to shake and everything.
I know,
right?
it's and then after that, the non-belief, or when he was like, no, but you wanted it.
Yeah.
But then you know what? After a couple of years or a couple of months, then you're like, did I want it?
Yeah.
But then it's like, no. Like my body physically didn't want it. That tells you like all the blood stuff. It's, I didn't want this.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah. And so after that, so that was in March, and then, no, that wasn't in March. That was before I went to Vegas and I met Joshua. That was like,
oh wow.
I met Joshua in December. So I think it was October-ish at that point. And then I met Joshua in December. And then I had nothing after that experience. Then I met Joshua in December. Then he came in December, and then I came for the balloon fiesta in October.
Yeah.
And then he came to visit my family in December a year after, and then he came in April, and then I moved in August. But so yeah, when he came, we had but every time we would have intercourse together, I was like, I needed it to be completely dark. I was super scared, and then I was still bleeding.
Oh, wow. It's like your body was...
I know. And Joshua was so patient. And I know this is very TMI. This is very personal. But Joshua, that's also how I could tell he's the love of my life. He was so patient.
Oh,
he was so patient. And he always told me, no, that, he never initiated it either. He wanted to give me time, and he knew what happened and stuff. And so, and it took so long because all the way till me moving, I still, and then it went better and better, and until I was completely healed from it. But I think mentally you never heal.
No. Yeah. Or even in your heart, really.
Right.
Yeah.
But physically, I mean, it was okay. But then yeah, it's so yeah. So that's why I feel like Mark was respectful with you in that way too.
Yeah.
And then you had clear boundaries too with your daughters. So that's.
And I think you have to create those boundaries, because then if you don't, I feel like that's when a lot of people cross the line, and then they make up some kind of excuse, like your best friend. And it's like, no, clearly I told you, if you ever do anything,
right,
we're done. So yeah. No.
Oh yeah, but yeah, and needless to say that he wasn't my best friend after that,
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that whole group that I thought were my friends, they were not my friends.
So he never apologized or anything
no.
like that to you? Jeez.
No, because, and that's also why I've never went to the police, because then I was like, well, maybe, and you didn't want it, it's not your fault, and it was a rape, but it's like, well, who is there to back me up?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. Like, especially when you start to think about like the evidence and like trying to prove yourself, then like a lot of people don't report anything or say anything to like friends or family, because they're like, well, who's really going to believe me?
Right.
And that's like the scary part, that, when you become a victim, like to have that mentality that, I don't know. That's why, I don't know.
Yeah, and to me, it was also really hard because I always wanted to be loved. I always and that's also why I never really had boyfriends, because every time I would have one, after 5 minutes, I would be like, I want to have five kids. I want to get married. I want this like long-term, like I want this fairy tale long-term relationship. And so I never really had any big relationship at all because I was too much.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I don't know. Maybe, you know, I'm also trying to find excuses for myself, but I don't know. And so, you know, when that happened, I also kind of like buried it because I was like, well, I don't want to be the girl who was raped, you know? And I didn't want it to define me either. And I was like, damn, I already have such a hard time finding a relationship.
Yeah.
Then what now? And so, and then I met Joshua out of nowhere, but it's, you know, it's funny when you said that about your daughters earlier, that they saved you. I told Joshua a lot, still to this day though, that he saved me.
Yeah.
He saved me, from my past, from my family. And so when I had the opportunity to move,
Yeah.
he said, no, I'll move to Belgium. I said, no,
Yeah. Yeah. You're like,
No.
no, I'm going to you.
I need a fresh start. I need a new life. I need you know, if I could have changed my name, maybe I would have. You know, to that point, you know, it's like I was leaving like so much behind me and so much like toxic stuff. And I was ready. So I was craving something like different and new, but I felt like I could not do that where I lived.
Yeah.
And so, and even now when we came back for Christmas, it was weird in so many ways because it was also like going back and
Like reliving things.
to
that
an
you
old
don't-
life I was like, kind of same as you earlier, like, oh, like it happened, like it's real.
Yeah.
All my childhood is, and sometimes we have those discussions with Joshua that are kind of like other universe type of conversation, but it's like this body went through, for me, like 32 years already. Like, when sometimes I feel like when you think about your childhood or your adolescence and stuff, it almost feels fake.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, did I really go through that? Did I say those things? And you know,
Like, did you experience those things?
Yeah. It feels weird. It feels weird. And it's like, yeah, this body actually did and went through that. And damn, we're stronger than we know, or than we think. But yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this, but all that, it's, that's also why I'm so happy to be here and to share, because it goes far beyond just like keeping it to yourself. And, you know, it's therapeutic for me too, to be able to just let it out. And see, like, since earlier, I'm like, all right, just shake it off.
Well, I remember when I first like talked about it ever. And I don't even remember which story that I like had told, but it was a story. And I just remember like the instant I started talking, like I would cry and I would shake. Like now I talk about it, it's not as bad because I've been open about it more and more. But yeah, the first time I just cried, and you know, and it's good to find people that you're comfortable with to, like, you know, share that story, because every story, or like every victim, has a similar story in a sense where they start to blame themselves. They start to recreate the story. They know the truth,
Right.
but then they're like, no, that couldn't have happened because of this and this and that, right? And they just like compromise with themselves, because to them, like, this is me, like, it seems harder to deal with it than it is to just, okay, let me just push it aside. That's easy.
Right. That's easy.
Yeah, but it's not easy.
No.
It's just as hard because it's in the back of your head. And then you start to like create this behavior, like for example, my dad, for the longest time, I didn't know why I was always angry with him, and why like I felt disgusted with them, until, you know, slowly things started coming back to my, you know, memories.
Right.
And now I'm like, oh yeah, because you did this. That's why. That's why I have no respect for you. That's why I talk to you the way I talk to you. So yeah, I don't know.
Did you ever talk to him about it?
No, and that's the thing. So my mom and dad knows nothing about it, unless someone decided to like listen in on this and was like started interpreting it to my mom. And even if it was told to my mom, like I wonder if she would even understand. And it's just so hard. I don't know. So going back to my oldest daughter, remember how I was like, oh yeah, I cried because I found out she was a girl. So another reason why I also was like, well, no. Sorry. Let me like go back even more. So the reason why Mark and I had decided that like if I ever got pregnant, we would keep the baby and not have an abortion. And in my head, I already had that, decision in my head. Never told him. I just asked him, and then he was like, and then see react. Because, sometimes you say something and they're like, I agree with you. You know what I mean?
They agree like, just to agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Just so that you don't break up with me. And I'm like, no, that's not the point. But the reason why I had that choice in my head already was so when I was 15, 16, I had my first like real relationship. That relationship lasted like a year, but I also lost my virginity. So, you're in love, you're young, whatever, things happen. I got pregnant. And like I said, my life centered around my parents. And so I was like, I can't have this baby. And it wasn't because, I can't take care of it.
Right.
So it was kind of, I can't take care of this baby, but like, it was like, I can't take care of this baby and my parents. Like, it wouldn't be fair to the baby. Because I know I wouldn't be able to take care of you the way I need to take care of you. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like because of my reputation or anything that I was trying to protect. That was my mentality, was my parents. I'm like, I need to take care of my parents. I can't take care of a baby in addition to my parents. So my parents don't know. My parents never knew. My dad never knew, but my mom doesn't know. But yeah, so I went with the abortion. I lied. I told my mom I need money for uniform because I was on the step team at the time. And I was like, I need uniforms, like, $300-$400. And she's like, okay. So she gave me money, but it was actually for the abortion. So at the time I talked to my boyfriend and I was like, we need to have an abortion. I can't have this baby. Like, there's no way. And he wasn't supportive in a sense where he was just like, whatever you want.
Oh.
But, I might have changed my mind if he decided he wanted to keep the baby. But the way he reacted, it was just like, he didn't really care.
Yeah.
Like,
it goes to show that it would not have been there if you had that baby. And so you would have been completely alone with your parents to take care of and the baby. And then you probably would just have vanished.
Yeah. But yeah, so I ended up having an abortion. And yeah, it's like, it almost feels like it never really even happened too. And I just remember when I walked up to the office, they had those protesters and they're like, you could save your baby's life. And I'm like, but why? Like, if I had this baby, I know I'm going to grow attached to it. And what if, even if I put this baby through the system, like, that good life is not still guaranteed. It probably would have had a better life with me than putting it in the system. You know what I mean? And I made that decision on my own to do this, found a way to get money, and I went in and got it done. And it's one of those other things where I'm like, is that a memory? Did I really do that? But I actually have papers, the consent form. And I keep it there for memories that, like, this is true. This is what you went through.
Yeah.
But I remember just I think that's a lot of where my depression comes from too. I mean, on top of like all the abuse that happened, and then this, I was just like, my God, like, I don't want to be a woman. But yeah, so I still had that paper at home, and from that day on, I always told myself that if I ever get pregnant, I'm not going to do that again, because now I'm stronger than I was before. You know, because granted, I'm a little bit older, you know, at the time, like I'm going to be 17, 18, like almost an adult. So I'm like, oh, you know.
Yeah, it's different.
If it happens, I'm going to find a way this time, because I'm smarter, I'm stronger. I'm going to make it happen. And I'm going to be super dedicated, because I've been blessed with a child. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. I got pregnant, but I cried. But yeah.
And what happened at that point with Mark when, I mean, it was real? Because you had talked about it, you know, and I feel like it's also different to talk about it and say, yeah, we'll have a child, and then you have a child, you know? It's like, what was his reaction then?
So he knew about the abortion already. So like in the dating, well, we were dating, what am I saying? In the beginning phases of our, like the first year of dating, like I said, I try to be transparent. I'm like, look, this is what I've been through.
Yeah.
So he knows about the abortion. And so I think that's why he decided the same thing that I had decided. And yeah.
And did you guys, I mean, you were super young, but like what happened? When did you guys live together for the first time?
Oh, well, I don't know. Don't do this, teenagers. It was like kind of instant.
Okay.
So as soon as we were dating, actually I was like kind of secretly living at his place. His mom didn't like it, obviously, because I lived so far from our high school. Then it was like, okay, well, I'm going to live here. And, you know, given the situation, like we were sharing a room. Then I turned 18, or I became an adult, and I figured out how to like get an apartment. So I got an apartment for my parents and me. Okay. So then when we got that apartment, then Mark kind of moved out of his place and started living with me. And so we've kind of just been living together ever since. God, man, that's 20 years. But anyways, yeah.
What happened after that? So, okay. So then you graduate high school.
Graduated high school. We went to college, community college together. We were taking courses together. And all of a sudden it was just like, I'm pregnant. Like something's not right. And yeah, I think I'm pregnant. Like I didn't get my period. And then sure enough, I was pregnant, and it's like, okay, this is really happening. So at the time he was working at like In-N-Out, and it's been like 2 years. And that's when we decided, okay, we got to grow up now, like really, really grow up and be an adult. And that's when he joined the Air Force. Actually, he was going to join the Army.
Oh, okay.
And then the position that they were going to give him, they're like, well, you got to leave like in 7 days and get your affairs together. And we're like, oh, we can't do that. Like, that's way too short. And plus we're young. Like we don't know how to do that in 7 days, let alone like a whole year. So he freaked out, and he's like, I don't think I'm gonna do the Army thing, because I can't leave in 7 days. So then he decided to do Air Force. And I'm like, I don't know why he didn't think about that, because his like dad and his grandpa's Air Force.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, why wasn't that your first option? But anyways, yeah. So that's how I became a military wife. But at the time we weren't married. So funny thing is, we were engaged, and our wedding date was set for like August 1st.
Okay.
But her due date was August 7th. And I was like, well, we could kind of do it maybe, right? Because like August 1st, and then like I have a whole week. But, with due dates,
Yeah.
that is very unpredictable, right? They could come a whole month early or like 3 days late. Like, you just never know. So then we're like, no, let's not risk it. So we started canceling all the vendors, which we lost a lot of money from, but it was a good thing anyways, right? Because we needed that, even though we lost some of the money, we still had money for our growing family that's coming. But then Makani came at July 31st. The day before my anticipated wedding. So imagine if I kept that date and it's like, let's do a FaceTime type of wedding. Like, I'm kind of there. Oh, look, here's the baby. Like, you know what I mean? So it was a good thing we canceled because she came the day before our wedding date. And yeah, like, you can plan for all you want. Right. But I think we just have to learn how to be like flexible and give ourselves grace for like whatever things come our way, right? And not let it like take over. And like, I understand everyone's gonna have some type of anxiety, but like, letting it control your whole life.
Oh yeah, but it's like, for us, we had some money saved, and and then we were trying to be ready to have our son, right? And we had some money saved, and then I'm 3 months pregnant, and we got scammed.
Oh, I remember that.
And we lost some $10,000, but we didn't have that money. Like, we had, I think, $6,000 saved, and we thought, okay, we're doing good. And then that happened, and then all of a sudden we were in the red, and it's like, wait, we're not ready for this baby. Actually, it's like, so I think no matter what, some people are pushing a lot of things in their lives, that it's children or other, or like the podcast, or, or projects, for a time where they think they're going to be ready or more ready. But what is being ready?
Oh, I know, right? You can never be ready for anything. And that's one thing I've learned is sometimes you just got to do it. And so that's kind of how I've been lately, is just like jumping on things. I'm like, okay, I'll just do it. And then if it doesn't work out, then, plan B or plan C, D, and F. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes there are a lot of plans, for sure. Thank you so much for sharing all that. I'm so in awe, because it's not every guest is the same, and not every guest is talkative or sharing their, and it's been so easy to talk to you. And I'm not ending the conversation, but I'm just making a little, like, okay, a little parentheses of this has been, and that's what I want it to be. I want this like to be like a conversation that people are like, you're at a coffee shop and you hear people talk.
Oh, right? Yeah. That's kind of like eavesdropping. Like, right? I want to know more. Hey.
And it's like, oh, I want to talk too.
Oh, I know, right? There has been moments where I'm like, I want to join in on this conversation with these strangers.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And sometimes why not, also as a little.
Well, and I know abortion is a very like controversial thing. And it's going to piss a lot of people off. And I'm sorry, but that's what I did. And I don't regret it. Do I hate it? Yes. Back then, it killed me so much. And to the point where, like, even when I had Makani, I felt guilty having her. I was like, I don't deserve this child because I disowned my first one. Okay. And I hate it when people are like, that's not how you felt. Like, you went with that abortion, and it's just, it is what it is. I did it, guys. So,
you know what? People think it's easy. It's not. Like,
no.
I'm so sorry you had to go through that. And you made that decision knowing full well that you were not going to be able to, care for that child. So it's not, it wasn't an easy decision. No. And of course, I wasn't in your head at the time, but you weigh your, your opportunities and what was going to happen to you, but to that baby too.
Yeah.
And it makes me so mad, all the talk about abortion, because again, it's like, you nobody has anything to say about our bodies.
Oh, I know, right?
You know, it's not their decision, because who was going to be there for you to help you with that child? You know, I feel like, and I know, you know, I don't want to enter politic conversations, but it's like, it pisses me off when people are like so strongly opinionated about abortion, but then there's nobody for the rest of that child's life.
Oh yeah,
You know,
right.
for, you know, the problem about guns and then school shootings and stuff. Oh, that life that we had to save doesn't matter afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like, we need systems to help mothers, or young or older mothers, but, you know, to take care of that child, you know, like even in Belgium, that's what I know. So that's what I can talk about. But you have child support from the state. So the state gives you money monthly to take care of your child. Here you get tax credit, or what is it, deduction in your tax?
No, the tax credit. Yeah, it's like $1,000 per child or something like that.
Heck yeah. Like you can't do nothing with that. All that, granted, in Belgium, it's not in the lottery. You don't win the lottery when you have children. You get money, and it increases with the number of children you have. But there's help from the government, and you have like different, you know, options and help to go get. And here, I feel like if you're not like a low income, there's no help.
Yeah.
You know, and so you know, that's what bothers me. And maybe then we'll just close the parenthesis there. But with people that judge you when you ask for help, there is nobody. Those same people are not there to help you.
No, they're not.
So it's like, no, but you want me to have that child, but are you going to help me raise that child and be there and help me financially, or you know, or so, okay.
Fighting words.
Okay.
Coming
so,
out.
Yeah. So, you know, you, and it was another time, and you made that decision. And yeah, you know, that you're so strong and you're so brave, and it wasn't an easy decision to make. And of course, you know, I say that too because not a whole lot in my family know that my sister had to go through that too. And she regrets it but also I talked to her too, because now she's like, yeah, but see, I would have a 13-year-old now, and you know, and she cries a lot about it, and she's not happy about it, and she's hurt a lot. But I was telling her at that time she was living in my aunt's basement, and it would have been a life for that child, and you know, and it's like, yeah, but like now you're where you at today, but also because you were able to do all the things in the meantime without a child, and you know, without that pressure, and also, you know, then you see that that decision you made at a certain time in your life, but you kind of like think about it now, and it's like, well, now I could take care of that child, but it's, yeah.
You know, at the time you're so young too, so it's like you don't think, you know, at the time you're not capable. No. You know what I mean? And it's like you're basically risking, like not your life, but like you're risking to see like how is this gonna play out later on. And you know, yeah, I probably could have kept the child or the baby, and it probably would turn out just fine, and I would have a 18-year-old right now. But I mean, that's the thing too, when you're alone and you're that young, it's so scary. And also I want to add on, my decision came about is because, you know, I was already taking care of my parents, right?
Yeah.
That expectation from like not just my parents, but like my whole entire family of being the caregiver for my parents. They had this like created this reputation for me where I'm like, I'm the golden child because I take care of them. And, you know, this girl's going to go.
You never asked for that. Yeah.
And I never asked for that. Yeah. But that's what they had, like, created for me. And they're like, oh, well, you know, she's going to go on to bigger and better things. But it's like, how can I do that?
Right. So you're stuck.
Like, because I'm taking care of my parents. What do you mean? Like, how can I? but in their heads, they're like, she's so smart. She's going to go to college. She's going to get her degree, which I did like how many years later. But it's like, because they had given me that persona, I was like, I can't have this. Right. That was another thing. Yeah, I need to live up to it. Because if I had this baby, then I'm like, I'm a fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But, and then I wonder if it's okay for me to ask, but like, where were your brothers and sisters all along? Like, even just after that, because you said you jumped in to help, but you were the youngest.
So, like I said, they're living their own life. So, like, my sister and her family was like just living their own life, working, doing their own thing. And that's the funny part is like, I would help out with her kids and like babysit when I was like 12. So it's like, I couldn't like rely on them. And my brother was off. Well, he was getting into trouble. So he wasn't helping the family to begin with because he's over there trying to figure out his life. And because of all that, I was like, I need to make sure that I do good and that I get my crap together and, get out of this hellhole and create a better life for me. And so once I had the girls and I married Mark, I was like, no, we're going to change this whole dynamic of what a family is supposed to be, because I do not want it to be how my family, was. Because like you, my family was also abusive. There was a lot of verbal and physical abuse that I've witnessed. And so I told myself that, that's not going to happen when I create my own family. So it's...
Right. And it's crazy because I don't know how your family is about that, but when I talk to my dad about it, he's like, move on, like toughen up. Or I was telling you were fat because you were, and I just wanted you to, and I was just like, Dad, you don't think I saw myself in the mirror? Like, you think I really needed you? And sorry, I'm yelling. But it really makes me so mad. It's like, because he does the same to my brothers and like to one of my younger brothers too now. And I'm like, do you think I could, like, I needed you to just bring it back to my face. And I have thyroid issues. So, there's factors like for also that don't help with weight, but it's like, it just makes me so mad because your family that are actually the ones that, hurt you, then they're like, oh, brush it off. Like, toughen up. Like, and it's like, no, it hurt me. And it's okay for me to talk about it even years later. And I moved on. And even though there's still like trauma there, and I'm trying to like not look at the return right there, and I'm like, okay, my hair looks like crap. No, but there is still like, and that's why now, I don't know how it changed for you as a mom, but since I'm a mom now too, like I started saying that again about my weight and how I look and that I look ugly. And then Joshua looked at me and he was like, you need to stop. And he said, are you going to say that in front of our son? And, because you're his mommy. He's never going to see you as ugly or, and you can't like disrespect, first of all, like my love, because he said, I love you and I found you really beautiful. So don't say that.
Good job, Josh. Good job.
He's like you. I was like, I think I dreamed him my whole life. And then I met him and I was like, okay, I can't let him go. And which also another creepy, funny thing is when I met him, I made a vision board. And I printed a picture of him and of Chip, his dog.
You manifested him into your life.
But so after I met, after I met him after Vegas, when and between then and when he came to visit me in Belgium, like on top of my bed, I had a whole frame with like his picture, his dog, like a couple, like hand in hand with like wedding rings. Yes. But then I forgot. And so when he came to visit me,
that's embarrassing. Oh my God.
He's like, on top of my
you know
bed,
what? Like, he still decided to marry you after seeing that. Like, he could have ran away and be like, oh my God, that's weird.
Yeah, that was a fun parenthesis. But then I ran on top of I hid it and it was like, no, what? What is that?
That is too
But
funny.
I think at that point he knew that, that I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm all there. But I think there was a lot of me in there too. Like, but I lost my train of thought again, but it's oh no, but yeah, then so becoming a mom, I was like, no, first of all, I don't want my son to ever believe that he's too fat or too thin or too whatever. But then came the mirror in front of my face well, I can't keep saying that about myself either then.
Yeah.
And so I'm working on it. Luckily he's only 2, so I don't have a whole lot of time before he really understands and starts repeating stuff, but I'm working on it, and it's not easy. And that's what I want to say, is that our families have so much power over us, and sometimes it's so hard when they just brush it off, because they do. And I think the generation before us, I don't think they realize that the power they have, and also how it's important to talk about it. And I think we're the first generation to finally open up the discussion and be okay with therapy, be okay to have open conversation about traumatic events. So
that was like the main reason why I wanted to come onto the podcast, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I've always like wanted to tell my story. But, it's always been through, like, talking one-on-one with people. And now it's like the whole world knows. But, what I love, though, is that, as much as your conversations with your dad is not as productive as you would like it to be, they're there.
Right.
Whereas, like, with me, there's none. And I don't even know how to, like, begin it. And honestly, I don't even want to. And I know it sounds terrible, because it's like, like people are probably gonna be like, oh, well, you're willing to talk to your friends about it, but not with your parents or the actual offender. Right. And it's like,
that's not the same. Yeah.
Different. Yeah.
No, and there's a difference between like owning it and owning your truth and talking about it, and then talking about it with your family and the people that who hurt you. And to some extent, like at least that's my truth. I don't know about you, and you can share yours. Is for me, I just realized now, 4 weeks ago, that my family's never going to change. No matter what I do, no matter what I say. Oh, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. And so that's why I was like, well, no, I'm not gonna. And so I love watching shows and movies and stuff. And so a long time ago, I don't know even what I'm thinking about that now, but I watched the show Revenge, and the show starts by saying I think it's C.O.D.A. I don't remember who says that when you start the path of revenge, you have to dig 2 graves, like your own and the other person, but your own too. Or there's another saying, but I'm not really good with sayings, but that says, reinvented, that when you are mad, no, it's not. I don't know. I'm just going to invent one. But all that to say that when you have like grievance, or when you are mad towards someone, all that hate you have, you're just self-poison yourself.
Oh, yeah. True.
And so, and it's just now 4 weeks ago that I was like, F it. I'm just gonna stop drinking the poison, and I'm just gonna let it go and let them be. And I'm gonna be my own person.
Yeah.
Finally, and do what I want to do. And so, yeah, I feel like, it's easier said than done, of course.
Yes. That's for sure. Yeah.
So, and now your dad is gone. So same as for my mom, it's like, well,
and that's like another freaking story. So he passed away, and the way it happened was I woke up, was getting ready for work, and all of a sudden I get a call from my brother. We never talk. Oh. And when we text, it's like a quick, okay, like I got it. So if he's calling, I'm like, something happened. Oh. So I'm like, my mom, my dad, or my grandma. And next thing you know, I just hear him crying. I'm like, yep, something happened. And that's how I found out my dad died. But even then, I booked a flight that afternoon and was like, I gotta go, because they need me there. And as soon as I get there, all of a sudden, they're showing me my dad and they're telling me the story. I'm talking on the phone with donor services because they want his retina, and I'm consoling my brother and my sister's like telling me the story about like how it happened, and I'm like comforting them. So I never really had the time to like grieve the moment I even got there. Mm-hmm. And like I'm already planning like the funeral service, right? Like I got to talk to the parlor, the next day. We need to figure out, what kind of urn we want. Literally like the logistics of it all.
Right.
And there is a point in time and mind you, this is my dad, the offender. Right. We already have a drift in our like relationship. I don't want to do any of this. I want to just like, he's gone. It's kind of almost like a good riddance. Right. And I know it sounds so terrible, but part of me felt a little relief.
Yeah.
But then now I have to do all this, and it's like,
so still why? In death? Yeah.
Why? Right. Like, nobody knows what you did to me. Like, F you.
Right.
But then, that's all hidden, and I continue on with the logistics of it and planning. And there was a point in time where we were talking about food, and my cousin had like got upset with me because I couldn't give her an answer about a question she had. And I just blew up because I was like, what?
Build up, yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, what? Didn't even have time to grieve. And I can't give you an answer because I'm lost in my thoughts and I don't even want to fucking do this. Right. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
You bleep that out. the cuss words. But like, I don't even want to do this. And I didn't say why. I just said, I don't even want to do this. And it's not fair because I didn't get to grieve, and, I'm explaining it. Mm-mm. And just yelling at everyone about it. And then they realized, yeah, she didn't grieve. She's been planning this whole time and never sat down to cry. And, and when I say grieve, not because part of me is sad.
Well,
because
of course.
I think back before the incident and when he was my dad and the moments we had together when he was just my dad that took care of me, and that's what I wanted to grieve about, but yeah, I didn't, yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, and then I don't know if it's the same for you, but then for me, when my mom passed, I was also sad because it's like, it's over. Like I don't get the opportunity to grow and talk to her, because I was so stubborn, and I always said she'll never meet my children. That if I knew, yeah, she's never gonna meet my children, but she's never gonna meet my children. I'll never talk to her ever again. But I was young. I was a teenager. I didn't think of. I couldn't see like other stuff, and then I don't want to also like fall into the opposite of, kind of like glorifying her. Mm. There is way more to that story, but
it's like she didn't deserve it in your mind.
Yeah, but then you grow older, and you just live things, and you just go through things, and then you just come to realize certain things that when you're your child you don't realize how old your mom was when your dad left her. Like just a sneak peek is that my dad was 30, my mom was 29, and my dad left my mom for a 23-year-old, but they already had me and my two sisters though. Oh. And so when I was 29 and I was dating Joshua, who was 34, and we didn't have my son yet, but I was like, if Joshua would leave me now for a 23-year-old, and we had 3 daughters, and then, maybe I would have started to drink.
Yeah.
And
so you had more sympathy for her, and you like understood her more now that you're a mom.
Right. And so it's like, wait, and then also like she had her, like when I say, like, you know, I like to tell Joshua, we all have crazy stories. Like, my mom lost her sister when she was really young, and the sister died in a bed in the middle of the living room because she had a terminal disease, and so she just died in the living room in front of everybody. And my mom, like, there were 7, and she was the sister that died was the last child. And but then her parents, my grandparents, they just, after that, they just abandoned everybody else. Like, they just stayed in their grief, and they never recovered from that. And which I can't imagine what losing a child does to someone. But it's like you had 6 other children, and you know, and that did a whole number on my mom's family. But so, you know, there's that, and then my dad abandoned her, and then so there was so much in her life too that and then she died at 49.
Jeez.
And I'm like, she didn't deserve to die that young, or without even her daughters talking to her and stuff. And there's a whole lot of things to say about that. But all that to say that I didn't get to talk to her. And I feel like maybe with you, I sense a little of, in that relief, there's also, you know, probably a part of you that's like, well, I'm never going to be able to kind of not confront him.
But yeah, I'll let him know, like, this is what you did to me.
Yeah. And it wasn't okay. And it wasn't a dream. And, you know, and why the hell would you do that to me?
Yeah, yeah. Like, give me some answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who does that? Like, sorry, it just makes me mad too for you, because, you know, it's your referent adult. Like, it's the person you look up to. And on top of it, like, I feel like I have the same relationship with my dad, where my dad was always my hero, and, you know, I always put him in a pedestal. And I also had that type of relationship with him, like you were describing yours with your dad. And so how dare he have done that to you? So I'm so sorry. Again, and then we go through so much shit in life. I'm just like, for real, it just keeps adding up. And it's like, okay, like,
yeah. And I'm waiting for the day when my girls are older, and, you know, they're starting to experience life more.
mm-hmm.
And I can't wait for that day to just, like, have this
The conversation,
intimate talk with them, and be like, look, you know, when mommy's wasn't at her best, this is the reason why.
Right.
And I feel like, okay, you know how, like, you're saying we're sponges? I feel like maybe everyone is a sponge.
Mm-hmm.
And they, you know, they absorb all these things, right? Like, all these experiences and things that's happened in their life. And your mom was one of them, but she never got to squeeze or, like, let out. Like, it just stayed bottled up. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's a lot like that with older generations. Like, we can't talk about that, you know? Like, and it's almost sad that, you know, she kind of passed away without maybe explaining herself more.
No, and even further than that, I feel like people have different ways of coping.
Yeah.
And for us, you and me, it's talking. I feel like a big part of it is letting it out and talking about it. But I think for my mom, it was because she couldn't do that. I think a lot of it went through the drugs and alcohol, and
she had to find other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, it's so easy to say it's wrong.
Yeah.
And that, you know, she was a bad mom and all that. But a lot of, like, growing up with my dad's family, a lot of them always said that my mom's family has a big part of it, a big part of responsibility, and that their duty was to be there and help and do this and that for her. But I don't agree. And so I'm curious to know your opinion on that, is in the sense that you're not responsible for your brothers and sisters' mistakes, or okay, so you can be there. You can, to me, according to me, you can be an ear, you can advise, you can, but it's the same as, you know, with me, I see that with my brothers and sisters. I went through some stuff already. So I want to shield them and I want to tell them, no, like, don't do this. Like, I already went through that. I fell on that rock. Don't do the same thing. But sometimes people have to go through their own mistakes to learn and not do them again.
True.
And so there's a lot of, of my dad's family, like being mad at my mom's family because according to them, they never intervened or they never helped or they never got my mom the help that she needed. But I think that, first of all, they had their own lives and they had their own struggles. But I don't think my mom, I think that generation needed to talk to someone, to therapist or something. More than just like, I don't know. I feel like
it was
it's so
way
easy
beyond
to say,
her addiction or whatever she was going through. Like it had to do more with the relationship with the whole family too. And I feel like too, like who's to say that they didn't try to intervene? Also, we don't know that. We're always so quick to be like have an opinion, like as if we know everything, but it's like you really don't know what happens behind closed doors. Nope. Like we're like us telling our story now. No one knew about it, but now when they watch this, they're like, "Oh my God, she went through that!" Like, oh, that explains a lot of things. And so like they probably did, and that's the thing too. Helping someone, it's so hard when they cannot help themselves, and I'm. This is why everyone should be responsible and in control of their own selves, because my mom is the same way. Like, I'm losing my train of thought, but, my mom is the same way where, she wants people to take care of her. And it's like, I can't force those vitamins on you. You need to take those vitamins. She has arthritis and I keep telling her, you have to keep moving. I know it's painful because it's arthritis, but the reason why it's happening is because you've been stagnant and your bones are not moving. So you need to keep moving. And she's like, but it hurts. And I'm like, I understand that. But it's gonna get worse. Not all pain means something bad. You know what I mean? Like when you work out, right? It's painful. And I keep explaining that to her and she's just like, doesn't want to help herself. And so I feel like maybe that's what happened. They did try to help her and she just didn't want to put in the work for it. And it's hard, and that's why I don't want to blame other people.
No. Yeah.
But yeah.
That's good. I think, and that's also, if that podcast can do that too, I feel like sometimes you need to like enlighten people on that. Because I feel like on top of it, people have expectations. Like, what we were saying earlier about people projecting their own happiness on others. Yeah. I feel like sometimes people project their expectations on others too. And it's like, like same story with my sister. She was like, no, but I mean, if he talking about my dad, she was like, if he really thought about me and if he was really missing me, he would text me. And I said, no, you would do that. Yeah. But for him, it's another generation and there's pride and there is other stuff involved. And so for him, it's not the same, even though for me, it's the same. Like it's infuriating. And like I promised my son, I'll never like miss a birthday. And even if we're not on the same continent, I'll always find a way to text him or for him to know that I think about him. But that's me. And for my dad, I feel like, I don't know how it is in America, but in Europe at least, there's a lot of the older generation. They feel like it's the younger generation's duty to send messages. Right? Oh, yeah. And then the younger generation is like, well, I've never heard anything. So, they should send me a message. He's my dad, right? He should text me. And so it's like, and then nobody texts anyone because they all expect the other one to text. Mm-hmm. And so I'm also trying to detach myself from that and just... If I don't text, it's not that I don't think about you. It's just that.
No, I completely understand.
And we have so many different things to do in life in general, and so you can think about someone and not text, and it doesn't mean that you don't like them or you don't, think
or like you had forgotten them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, that like, I want to like emphasize to everyone is like, if I don't text you or like we haven't talked in years, it doesn't mean I never thought about you. Like there'll be moments where I'm like, oh my God, this reminds me of someone, blah, blah, blah. Like, and this is what happened. I'm always thinking about every person that's like been in my life. There's always something that reminds me of them. And so I don't know. And I feel bad, you know, because I'm the same way. I'm not really good at returning text messages. And my old coworkers can like attest to that, and they'll just probably laugh if they ever watch this. But you know, it doesn't mean that we had
Yeah.
forgotten. You know?
And see, I feel like you find your people like that in a way, because for me, I've gotten hurt a couple times where, so I grew up with my family that, you know, if you don't text, then you are on a blacklist.
Oh my God.
You know, yeah, it's like we laughed about my grandmother maybe having a red book with like people that, you know, like if you didn't call her by 6 p.m. on her birthday, you would be on the list. You know, so with now the, you know, different and like time zone.
Yeah.
With me, I have to be mindful of that. But half joking, by the way, about it, because it's like, okay. But all that to say that for me, I made a point in my life to never be like that. And, you know, and if we don't talk for 3 months, but then you send me a message, it's like, we talked yesterday. I'm going to answer to you like as if we talked yesterday.
Yeah.
And so, but I do that to other people too. You know, if I text back after like 3 months, I kind of expect the same thing in a way. And so sometimes I've been confronted to being really, really close to someone for a long time, and then all of a sudden life happens and we kind of like don't text too much. But then a month after, it's like, hey, like, you know, how are you doing, and this and that, and I'm back into the text chain, but then that other person's gone in a way, you know, it's like not answering. And so sometimes I've just been like disappointed in some relationships, but then I feel like I just need to then I find that, you know, that's how you kind of like find your people that are gonna answer you, like it was yesterday that you last talked.
Oh, I know.
And so,
and that's what I love, because when was the last time we talked? Like, was it like Hoike?
probably.
Yeah, that was like what, 6 months ago or something like that.
Yeah.
But look, we're talking like as if it was like yesterday. And that's the thing too. I think some people like get in their heads about stuff, and then they take it to, you know, to the heart. And then so when they see the person next time, all they're thinking about is like, well, you know, you don't talk to me often. It's like, no, don't do that, girl.
Right,
like,
yeah.
or boy, whatever. Like, you know, let's just talk. Like, like as if time never happened, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, I care about you, so that's why I'm like, no, I don't care that we haven't talked, and I think it was even the whole Ike before, so I think it's been like a year and a half. And so it's like, no, it's okay, you know, and I do truly care about you, and I you know, I'm really sad that we're not closer, and you know, but I'm holding to the thought that we will eventually be closer again, and you know, and then we'll just have cookout all the time.
I know.
I just can't wait.
I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like, I don't know, like, how do I explain it? But anyways, yeah, I don't know.
And so I don't know how long we have left on the for today. But if we have, would you like to keep the military wife for maybe another time to kind of dig into that? Okay, then,
because there's a lot of juicy stories about that. Anyways.
Okay. So before that, then
scandals and whatnot.
Oh,
Base and all the weird crap.
You're teasing me now. Okay, okay.
That's why we had to like.
Okay, then we'll have to like reschedule right away.
Yes.
Before then, we you know, slowly get to the end of today. I have two stacks of cards. One is a I always forget. How can I always forget?
It's the mommy brain.
Right. So one is life questions. It's easy. It's written on it, life question. The other one is expressions. And so I'm going to ask you to pick one card out of each stack, and then we'll talk about it if it means anything to you or.
Okay.
So here is one stack, and then it's the other. Thank
All
you.
It says the best way to predict the future is to create it. We just talked about that. Like you cannot plan. I mean, you can, it's good to plan, but to always be flexible. And, you know, when things don't go your way, recreate it. Create a new path. You know, it's like a tree, you know.
That's true.
Maybe like when that root grows, it's like, oh my God, oh.
It's not going where
the sun's not that way.
Right?
Okay. Go another way. Life question. What does success mean to you, and has that definition changed over time? So I used to think success was having a house, kids, a great, marriage, and having like a really successful job. But because I've dedicated my life to, not my life, but like, you know, part of my life to just raising the kids the way I want to raise them, you know, having a career wasn't there anymore. Like that wasn't part of it. So that part of me kind of changed. And in a way it kind of is my definition. I don't know. It's a hard thing to explain.
Society wants you to believe that you can't be successful if you have kids, or if you have kids, to be successful you have to be that CEO that's like hired a nanny, and you know.
Well, I can tell you this much: I don't want to be a boss mom or lady, boss lady. Like I don't want to do that. But I do, you know, want to work because it's gonna drive me crazy staying at home. Right. And work just like helps me socialize with other people. But I think I also did it just so that I can show my girls that like you could do this too. Like if you want to be a boss, you know, lady, you can be a boss lady. So it wasn't so much because like, oh, I want to be successful. It was like to be an example for my girls. But I probably should explain to them that, okay, you know, if you don't, you know, get a certain kind of job, or if you don't end up going to college, like that doesn't mean you're not successful. I think being successful is like you're able to pay your bills, meet your needs, you know, have food on the table, the things you know, pay your car or whatever it is. And that you're happy, and you know, you have great relationships with people.
And then pursue, because I think that also from an outside perspective, you know, I think it was also a strong statement for you to go back and get your degree. Having your girls, because they saw that too. They saw that their mom was working and was a mom, but pursued you pursued your career. And I think that's also a strong statement, even if it's not a said statement. But it's like a, how do you say that in English? Like it's not said. It's just like, you know,
assumed.
Or
like,
implied. I can't find a word. It's gonna come back to me like after the episode when I'll be watching the episode.
She'll put it in the comments, guys. When she figures it out, she'll write it in the comments.
It's okay.
This is what happens when you have like too many languages in your head. Because that's the same way with me. Like I speak Tagalog, and then I have sign language. But then, you know, I'm learning Hawaiian and the Halau. So like all these different languages, I'm like mispronouncing things. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. So by the way, I wanted to ask you, what do you speak in your head? Like what language do you dream?
I know, I've heard about that. I think it's just English still.
Just English?
Yeah. I'm kind of sad because I wish I would have like spoke Tagalog to the girls so that like they would like inherit that and like learn the language. But I never did because it's not as easy as people think, because Mark doesn't speak any of the languages. But they do like speak sign language to my mom, which is pretty awesome. I mean, it's not like fluent or anything, but like they do it. So
heck yeah.
You
are a wonder mom. It's crazy.
Which is funny. I don't really think so, but you know, but I think everyone else is.
See, that's funny. And it's funny because, you know, I want to tell you, I'm so impressed by you, and I mean, for whatever it means coming from me, but I do look up to you. And last episode, I was saying, like, I was commenting my guest, and she was like, "Oh yeah, but you're amazing for doing the podcast," and I was like,
See, you're the same
Thank you.
way.
Like, I
No,
don't know how
but
to
girl,
react.
you don't realize how proud I am of you.
"Oh,
Like, and I hope this thing grows and that like the audience like grows because this is amazing.
thank you." See, I love it so much, and I want to share that. I want to share the being proud of people and commending people, and I need to figure out how to accept it back. That's like
Girl,
you
I'm
said.
the
I
same
think
way.
I
It's
think we
okay.
need to work on that. But yeah, I think this world needs more kindness and more. I wanted to say something else and I forgot. But so I actually I don't know if you listen, but every episode I've been talking about this girl. So I watch a lot of true crime. I think
Oh,
that's
I do too.
one of my
Are you
passion.
talking about Ashley Flowers?
Oh, I watch her too, but no. Oh man, I love her podcast. But I'm a crime junkie too. But no, I watched. Actually, I finally did my research and went back to look at where it was. It was actually I watched it on Hulu. The show is called "Text Me When You're Home," and it's crazy. It's a show about women who disappeared. And sometimes we don't know what happened to them. Sometimes they got murdered. And in this case, it was a teenager. Her name is Desiree Turner. And she was 14 when that happened. And she thought she was going to go to the park with a friend of hers that she was kind of like in love with. But then the guy like tricked her, and another guy showed up, and they ended up shooting her in the back of the head.
Oh my God.
She survived.
Oh.
And
Okay.
yeah, and so after months and years of like rehabilitation and stuff, it was a crazy episode. I really, I mean, I just spoiled it, but but you watch the episode thinking she passed, and actually then she shows up on the screen and she's like, "That's me,"
Oh.
and it's like, what?
Yeah.
And she's such an amazing person. And she was then after that whole experience, she was growing flowers, and something stuck with me. She was saying that everybody's beautiful, but she's not just saying that. She's saying, I grew flowers, and so I grow, roses, and a rose is beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And then she said, I also grow sunflowers. They're beautiful too, right? But they don't look nothing alike.
Oh yeah. True.
Yet they're beautiful. And she said, your neighbor is beautiful, and you're beautiful, but you don't look nothing alike. But
True.
yet you're both beautiful. And I was like, oh my God,
I like that.
and I've been sharing that every episode so far. But then I went back to look at, so to actually get her name right and stuff. And then before I came here, I Googled her, and I was curious to know what she became, like what's going on. She passed away last month. Pulmonary embolism. Like
Okay.
she
So it
she
wasn't-
kept
yeah.
she kept having health issues, and so that poor sweetheart, she passed away at 22. And so there's the family put the obituary online, and so I was reading it, and I actually wrote something that she said that I wanted to share. So they were saying that because of what happened to her, she gave a lot of interviews and went on a lot of, to tell her story and stuff. And something she would say a lot was, you can do hard things. So you can do hard things. That's also something she wanted to emphasize for sure. And then she said, be your own kind of beautiful and find what makes you happy. Then do it often. And I thought that it's something that I actually put in this is like the question book for the guest, and I want to say that every episode because I miss hula, for example, but I feel like that's something that I need to apply in my life and that's what the podcast is too, but find stuff that makes me happy and do it often.
Yeah.
Like take a bath. I really love taking baths.
Who doesn't?
But it's like, and I think she's so right when she says then do it often, because I feel like we need to self-care. We need to do more of that in life, all of us. And so that poor girl. So yeah, so I thought I want to make sure that I have her memory live on, even though we didn't know each other.
Yeah. I mean, because she put her story out there, you know what I mean? And she's basically doing what we're doing, where it's just like, you know, trying to uplift everyone.
Yes.
So I think that's awesome.
And so I invite everybody to watch the show on Hulu if you have Hulu. It's like a Lifetime series. It's called Text Me When You're Home, and her name is Desiree Turner. So that I think she's like the 3rd or 4th episode of that series. But and that show is insane all in all. But it also goes to show like the number, which is also kind of like a hard show to watch because it gives you the number of women that disappeared each year in America. And it's like, how is that even possible? But you know, it's a hard show to watch on a lot of different levels. But I also took my little book because there's a tradition in the show where every guest asks a question to the guest after them without knowing who that guest is gonna be.
Oh my God.
And so, you know, it can be a hit and miss, but so the previous guest before you, his name was C.O.D.A. That's his stage name. His name is Ethan.
Okay.
And his question to you is, what has helped you overcome hardships? Oh, wait, actually.
No, that's not the one. I'm just kidding.
But we can answer that one
kidding.
too. No. But actually, no, the guest before you was Isabella.
I was just going to say, I'm like, I don't think he was. I could have sworn he was the first one.
And funny. So her question, which we can answer both questions, but her question was, what do you feel has impacted you the most?
Oh, that's hard because, you know, they're all of it's impacted me and changed me to who I am now. So there's no
like
way to
thing?
say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because it's like the whole flower thing, right? Like they're all beautiful, but they're different type of beautifuls. So that's, but I'm grateful for, you know, the things that's happened in my life, even though they're terrible. But I mean, they made me who I am, and I've grown stronger. But just because I'm strong doesn't mean those dark thoughts are not there. They're there. Right. Like this morning, because I've been stressed out, I told Mark, I'm sad. I don't know why I'm sad. I'm just really sad right now. Like I can't like shake it. And that's the truth of it. You know what I mean? And I think if we can just say it out loud like that, it's easy to just, you know, face it, I guess you could say. And I know sometimes we don't want to say it because, you know, we don't get the response that we need from like the other person or something like that. But sometimes it helps just to say it out loud because you don't want to keep that in. You really don't, because that's when like you spiral and it gets out of control sometimes. Right. And yeah, and I feel that so much because for me too, like that's when the days where Josh was working in town, and you know, if I'm the late shift at work and then I'm alone the first part of the day or the last part of the day after work, and that's when I'm alone and I can't verbalize like what I'm thinking. That is when I end up just something I do. I don't know how you, like then what is your mechanism, but for me, then I shut down and I like take my phone and I have one game on my phone. But when I feel overwhelmed and I feel like I don't know where to start or I can't do anything, I just like almost like I curled up on the couch and I play my game. And then I feel even worse because I'm like, oh cool, I could have spent like this last 2 or 3 hours wash dishes, do laundry, clean, or work on edits, or do other stuff. But because I felt so overwhelmed and I was like, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to do, and I feel stressed or sad or there's so many things in my head, or some stuff that's going on with my family and stuff, and I'm just like, and then it's just spiraling and you're like game.
And that's that, you know, but that's when I can't verbalize it because Joshua's not there, or because, you know, it's like, so I just, and lately I've done that a lot, and I'm trying to delete that game from my phone.
Text, girl. You better text
Right.
me.
I will.
I have a coworker, from my previous job, and she just texted me out of nowhere. It was like during lunchtime. She's like, "I really miss you." And then she starts, you know, telling me what happened. And I'm like, oh, my God, what's going on? So then I call her during my lunch. And I'm like, tell me what happened. So, yeah, do that.
You too.
I know.
She's like, I know, but I won't do it.
See, I'm so good at taking care of everyone else and supporting
And then for me, it's
everyone.
like, well,
I'm everyone's cheerleader,
Right.
but, man, I cannot cheer for myself.
and you have to let people cheer for you, because I know for a fact that a lot of people cheer for you too.
I know. The Halau, the girls there are so awesome. So, but that's another story. Yeah, because I had to get surgery and stuff. Things happen. So,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, and see, to me, I mean, and I miss the school too, but I don't know if I ever will come back, just because, you know what I miss? I miss art class.
Oh, true.
And so for me, if I do come back, I mean, the time it's going to take me to get back to dance with you and our class.
No, don't say that. Do not say that.
Yeah, but, you know, it's like,
See, that's you and your thoughts.
yeah. So it's like, I'm like, no.
We'll take it one step at a time. First, we need to get you out here back into like town in Albuquerque, and then we'll see how it goes. And it's always hard when you have little babies.
Oh yeah.
And it's never easy to do anything with little kids. So when they're older, it gets easier to take care of yourself more, and that's why just give it time, and then you're gonna come back. I'm gonna say that, okay? We're gonna dance together, okay? Yeah, everyone check out.
Right? No, but yeah, Kilakapu, so that everybody knows the school we were talking about, and we'll put them in the comments too. But no, yeah, I know, and that's sometimes also why I'm in my head, and I'm like, I miss that time. And then I know that also, like, a lot of the sisters that were in that time and in that class, you know, it's like, it's not the same relationship, and it's like, and it's okay. And, you know, you can miss like a certain time of your life or a certain group or a certain, you know, and be okay to know that it might not ever be the same.
But remember what I said earlier? Don't get in your head, because then you're going to miss certain relationships that could bloom.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
see, yeah, that's true.
We'll just wait and see.
Yeah, that's true.
When, it's easier for you later on, and that you guys are, settled here in Albuquerque.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, I'm going to push you anyways. So I'm like,
well, I'm going to have you, I'll have you write your question to the next guest. But I mean, we'll have to have another episode, because there's so many things we didn't talk about, and I wanted to dig into also, well, you being a military wife and how to raise kids, and then
because I have teenagers and they're girls.
Yeah, with social media.
Yeah,
that's a complete different conversation I want to have with you.
Well, I'm hoping they don't have social media, but we'll see.
So wait a second. So a little parenthesis. So how old are your daughters?
So my oldest is 15, turning 16 in a couple months. And then my youngest is 12, turning 13, like in the fall.
And you said they don't have social media?
I hope they don't have social media, but they go on YouTube.
Okay.
But I mean, it's out of my control, right?
No, I know, but I'm just gonna. No, it's just because I feel like nowadays children are like 10 and they have a phone, they have a social media account and all that stuff, and like my brothers and sisters, there's crazy stuff that I don't think my parents know about. But
yeah, see, that's a whole nother episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God. Yeah.
Okay, we'll see each other again. No, yeah, I would love to. And then I want to talk about your professional career, and there's so much we need to dig into also. what do you do, and you know what? Yeah, we have.
Yeah, military life.
I know. I want to know about that too, because I had so many questions too about, because you followed Mark. But then how did you do it, like job wise, and how like did you adapt?
I know there's so many episode for reals.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll have to stay tuned and keep an eye on whenever Mirasol comes back to the podcast.
Yes, I would love to come back. This was fun.
Thank you so much.
And I hope this reaches out to somebody. Like you're not alone in whatever journey you're going through. And, you know, I hope you particularly have someone that you can reach out to. And even if you want to even reach out, like in the comments.
I was going to say, you'll be tagged, of course, on the post and stuff. So is it okay for people to reach out to you maybe?
Yes,
if they
for
feel the need
sure.
to? Nice.
Yeah, and to all you mothers out there hustling and bustling, like, Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. And remember, you're awesome, even if you don't think so. And you know what? If you've fallen, then, you know, get back up. It's okay. Like, we're no one's a perfect mother. No one. Yeah.
No. And you can always count on either one of us. If you ever need anything, contact us. If you want to share your story, contact me too. And I would love to have you on the mic across from me as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so, is there anything else you would like to add for today?
No. Until next time.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Give you some more juicy stories.
Nice. Well, thank you for listening to today's episode. I need to work on my outro. I still don't know what I'm always winging it, and then I'm like this
subscribe.
Was terrible, right? Yeah, that's
they
what Joshua
say,
told
right?
me. He said, don't forget to say that. I always forget. Please like and subscribe and share to whoever you feel like would benefit from this podcast. Please reach out. There is a form in my bio on Instagram to fill in if you want to be a guest on the show. If you want to sponsor the episode or one episode, please reach out to me. And also, I would like to thank Albuquerque Podcast Studio for hosting the podcast and having this amazing lighting. Yes. And making us look beautiful.
Oh, I know. Even though our makeup is like gone from all the crying. Oh my goodness.
Hopefully you cried with us. Yes. I mean, you know, I think it was a roller coaster of an episode. But that's what life is about. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.